The 100th season of Falmouth Commodores baseball gets underway from the Gov.
Swing and a miss. Strike three call. That's a fair ball down the line. The Doors are gonna score. That ball is way gone.
And it all starts right now.
43 games of this 2023 season have come and gone. Game 44. The site tonight, Gov Fuller Field, Falmouth, taking on the Cotuit Kettleers to close the regular season. Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. I'm Zach Senk alongside Matt Venezia. We're glad you joined us tonight. Should be a fun one to wrap up the regular season with the playoffs on the horizon, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much at stake other than bragging rights and maybe trying to find a way to win against your West Division rival. Both Cotuit and Falmouth locked into their positions respectively. Cotuit at the top of the West, and Falmouth has found itself locked in at that 3 spot. Resting some guys today, wanting to just give them a chance to put the feet up before you get down to business this weekend.
Friday night at Hyannis will be the start of round 1, but there's still some baseball to play tonight and some things on the line, including for Travis Bazzana, who's got himself a shot at the batting title.
That he does. Those numbers are just off the charts, and Travis Bazzana has done all of that now through just 32 games. He wasn't here at the beginning of the summer, and the Beaver has just jumped off the score sheet. He's been consistent for Falmouth in that 2 spot in the order. He'll be at second base tonight with other guys getting a chance to rest. He's got some business to take care of personally, and we hope he can get there by the end of night.
And on the other side, it's another MVP frontrunner in Cole Mathis that's really been getting it done all year long for Cotuit.
Cole Mathis has been that guy for the Kettleers. He's at the top in a lot of their offensive statistical categories. If you look across where he is in hits, he's right up there near the tippy top. He's got a great batting average, as you see there, and drives in a lot of runs for a group that, as of late, Cotuit's kind of come down to earth just a little bit since the last time the Doors saw them. But every time you look at runs and how they come in for the Kettleers, Cole Mathis from Charleston has a lot to do with it.
We're going to have to see how it goes overall and where we really end up with it, because it should be a fun one today. These two teams have played close in the season series, but not really that close overall. A lot of the matchups have not been close at all. But we'll get into that more as we go throughout the broadcast. Now, with more on the matchup, we're going to send it down to the field with Destiny Sanchez.
Well, guys, it's game 44 of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. The Commodores are continuing not only the 100th year of the Cape Cod Baseball League, the Doors that have come and gone and that are still here today have been making Commodores history. Jeff Trundy will be going into his 14th postseason with the Commodores, and the stars of tomorrow are certainly on this Commodores roster, and I'm excited to see them shine going into the postseason. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Destiny. They're honoring down on the field Jeff Trundy, just finishing up his 25th season as head coach to the Falmouth Commodores.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Congrats to Coach Jeff Trundy. Everything he's done to this point in the year, Zach. I mean, the Doors have had just a tremendous turnaround. You look at what this group has done. You know, you had a tough go yesterday, but to turn this season around since June 28th, you're rocking a 20-8 record. You've just really turned everything into the direction of postseason baseball. You know, it doesn't come down to game 44, which is nice because Coach Trundy can enjoy this celebration here in this game that otherwise is just for bragging rights. But he certainly deserves to get some recognition for everything he's done for the Commodores now for a quarter of a century.
It definitely has left its mark on this town and this league. The Doors continuing to really impress again and again, finding their way back into the postseason for the 14th time, as Destiny mentioned, under Jeff Trundy. We're just a few minutes away from first pitch here at the Gov. We're going to step aside, be back with lineups and first pitch in just a minute. This is your home for Falmouth Commodores baseball.
The Falmouth Commodores have been part of the heartbeat of Falmouth since 1923. Thousands of fans flock to Gov Fuller Field each season to see future Major League ball players working to reach their dreams. All of this wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. As a nonprofit volunteer organization, the Commodores raise funds to cover operational costs. Fans support the local businesses who back the Commodores. It's what community is all about. There are so many ways we incorporate our sponsors into the fun, whether it be banners, print ads in our program, mentions on public address and broadcast, as well as in-game experiences. So however you support the Falmouth Commodores, we thank you.
Welcome back to Gov Fuller Field. The Doors and the Kettleers getting ready to get underway. Game 44 of the summer. Falmouth looking to try and get to 50 points, something that you would not have expected at all after Game 15 of the season when Falmouth had just 8.
Yeah, it's just been an unbelievable turnaround, as we were noting just a little bit earlier. The Doors, a lot of this turnaround has been done in the West Division, Zach. The Doors have won 6 consecutive against opponents in the West. You look back at the last matchup against Cotuit. We all know what happened that game at Lowell Park, a 27-2 win. That's included in that run. It's not just those big blowout wins. You've had close efforts, not to mention back-to-back home wins have been of the walk-off variety against opponents in the West Division. Falmouth is finding ways to win all different kinds of games, and unfortunately you didn't have one go your way yesterday, but that shouldn't really discourage the Doors from the trend that they're on ahead of the postseason.
Not at all. Things you love to see. We're just about ready to get going, and with that, we're going to send it over to our public address announcer, Brendan Capozzi, for the national anthem.
Please rise if you are able to honor America. Singing the national anthem tonight is Samantha Strain. Samantha will be going into 8th grade this fall, lives in New York City, and summers at New Silver Beach in North Falmouth. She loves to perform on screen and on stage, and will be appearing in Drama Fund's production of Aladdin this summer. She is also a cantor at her church and a red belt in Taekwondo.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
First pitch will be thrown by Matt Burgess and his sons Finn and Reese. Matt has been the Falmouth Country Club general manager for 15 years and a proud sponsor of the Commodores every year. Finn was the first-year bat boy for the Commodores this year and would like to do it for many years to come. Reese is hoping to become a bat boy in the future as well. When they are not playing baseball, they also like to play basketball, flag football, and golf at Falmouth Country Club. words we love to hear. Take it away, Matt, Finn, and Reese.
Play ball!
The Cotuit Kettleers, the top team in the West Division, the top team in the Cape League this season by record. They come in and bring a pretty strong lineup into this contest.
That they do. There's some faces we've seen. Obviously, Cole Mathis still has a shot at the MVP voting here at the end coming up real soon, and Jacob Tobias has been at first base the last couple of matchups. But outside of that, there's a lot of different faces, and that's because Mike Roberts is doing similar to Jeff Trundy, trying to get some guys a chance to just rest a little bit in this game that, again, doesn't alter anything. A win or a loss, either side doesn't change anything. Everything's been clinched in the West Division. There's still more to do out in the East. A big matchup for Orleans tonight. We'll talk about that later, Zach. But all in all, we're going to have a good lineup here against Scout Updike.
Scout Updike making his first start of the summer, the second appearance in a Falmouth Commodores uniform. He's got good stuff out of Jacksonville.
Yeah, Scout Updike's been really, really solid so far. Coming into this season, you see his numbers there from school. We saw him just a couple of days ago. 6 on the staff in earned runs, had a lot of strikeouts. I was 6 as well for Jacksonville with that number. And, I mean, I think Updike's got a great opportunity tonight. Again, you're trying to save some arms for the postseason. This is another chance for him to show what he's capable of. We saw him in the win against Hyannis the other night. Went 1.2, gave up a hit, a strikeout. I mean, it was good, solid stuff from Updike. Another chance for him to show what he's capable of as one of those new guys that just got here.
And you might see that ERA from Jacksonville and think one thing about him, but at the Martha's Vineyard Sharks earlier in this summer in the NECBL, he was really good. 30 innings pitched, had himself a sub-4 ERA, 33 strikeouts there for the Sharks. A lot of guys coming from that team making their way over to the Cape after the Sharks were eliminated from playoff contention there in the NECBL.
Including Caden Shapiro, tonight's leadoff batter. Yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of different Commodores now have come in from different parts of the country, just trying to help rejuvenate the roster and fill some spots. And when you play well in those smaller leagues, it's like you get called up. And right now, Updike's got that opportunity for him, and here we go.
First pitch catches the zone with the slider at 6:02, and we're underway from the Gov. Quickly 1-1. He really likes that breaking ball. Used it a ton against Hyannis, and starting off with back-to-back against a dangerous hitter in Mathis. Out in front. Just chopped it the other way. It's quickly 1-2. A lot of pitchers in this league work very fast, and Updike's no different.
Not at all. He channels his inner Braden Davis for Falmouth, just waiting up there, ready to go.
Swing and a miss. One batter and a strikeout strut for Scout Updike. Can't start much better than that.
Not at all. Way to make quick work of someone who's probably going to be a top 5 MVP vote candidate here in the Cape League, maybe a little bit higher than that. I mean, Cole Mathis, as we just talked about, has had a great year, but Scout Updike shows off the fastball just once in that at-bat and pulls the string a lot, including that wave and a miss.
Sean Keys digs in and gets ahead on the fastball low. He has been scorching since joining the Cotuit lineup. .411 batting average, 3 homers, 16 runs driven in just 34 at-bats. And he's ahead in the count 2-0.
He's really good, and the Doors saw it firsthand in that big win. He was probably the only positive for the Kettleers. Went 3 of 5, had an RBI, extra base hit as well. There weren't many positives over there for the home team, but he was certainly one of them.
That was a historic performance for Falmouth, putting up 27 runs on 26 hits. 2 different players with multi-homer games. Travis Bazana, 6 hits in that game, 2 home runs for him, 6 runs scored.
The return of Michael Eze. You had Tyler McGregor be a home run shy of the cycle as well. I mean, you look up and down that lineup card. I mean, a 14-inning 5th inning, 14-run 5th inning. I mean, it's just incredible what we saw that night at Lowell Park.
Updike's battled back full against Sean Keys. Bucknell Bison in the batter's box. The payoff. Strike 3 called. Bends it back on the back door. He knocked, but Sean Keys didn't answer, and he'll head back for it.
That's a really good pitch there, utilizing the slider once again in back-to-back put-away opportunities. He climbed back in the count to then set up that pitch there on the back door, as you mentioned, Zach. And a lot of spin rate on that, up to 2,600 RPM, and just locating that outer third. If you can get it there, it looks like a ball the entire way until it's not.
An ugly swing on that first pitch to Jeffrey Hurd. First time he's taken on the Commodores this season. Recent addition to that Cotuit lineup. Just finished up this season at Sacramento State. Now he's going to head to the Pac-12, play at Oregon.
That's right. Saw that earlier in my preparation today. Just another one of those guys. Again, you talk about it. Yesterday with Harwich, there are several players from southern New Hampshire getting ready to make jumps to other big-time programs. And you see it a lot. If you play well enough in those smaller mid-majors, you'll get a shot.
And Hurd finds a shot out into right field for a 2-out single. Gives the Kettleers the first base runner of the game.
I really like that pitch. 2-1, go with the slider again over the plate. But that time it gets down into the bottom right corner of the zone in on Jeff Hurd, and he's just able to extend down there and stay inside that baseball. And that's what good hitters do. They make you pay, even on pitches that Scott Updike's probably going to say, I liked where I put that ball.
From one Pac-12 hitter to another, Arizona State Sun Devil Jacob Tobias. 239 average on the summer. He's been here for a while. 71 ABs for the Cotuit first baseman. A couple of appearances on the mound, including the last time these two teams met. Threw a couple innings, gave up the home run to Bazana.
Well, you could say a couple again. He's already pitched 6 innings for Cotuit as a guy who is not a pitcher. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. The Doors have seen him on the hill in 2 different outings. 2 of his 3 pitching outings are against Falmouth.
2-0 swinging, popped it up. Long run for a lot of guys. Bazana called off by Shapiro, who makes a sliding grab to retire it. It got interesting, but it finds a glove either way. We're scoreless. Headed to the bottom of the first. Falmouth bats on the other side of the break. Scout Updike with a good top half of the first for the Doors. Now this offense trying to get itself going in the bottom half, and it'll all start at the top with Caden Shapiro.
Caden Shapiro getting his name on the broadcast because of that sliding grab, but he's back in the leadoff spot for the Doors tonight. Saw him yesterday as well on the road in Harwich. But hey, Travis Bazana, we talked about with him earlier, the batting title. He knows it's on. He thinks he's going to need 3 hits tonight. That's what he told us. So, hey, it's all going to start in your first at-bat. Try to find a way to start the ball game off the right way for Falmouth. Find a way to get up to 50 points on the summer. I mean, that would be for the first time since 2019. The Doors have a shot. They can find a way to win tonight.
The lone man to get Travis Bazana out in that game against Cotuit was Brian Young, who started that game, and he was pretty solid. 3 innings, just 2 runs given up. He's out for another start today.
Maybe I spoke too soon. It was probably him and Sean Keys, the only positives in that game for Cotuit. But, yeah, it was a really good outing for him. The game was still well within reach before Falmouth kind of exploded and took that one away. But at Ryder, again, 14 starts over 15 appearances, 6-6, north of a 5.0 ERA, probably something he wants to get down. But he got bit by the extra base hits, 25 of them, Zach, led up over the course of his time there in 70 innings this past season.
Now Shapiro will step in, another one of those guys that came over from the NECBL. Talked to Caden about that earlier, and he said it really helped him to get into this league and ease into it, because it's not like he took a while and hasn't seen pitching. He's played 29 games this summer, now in his 30th, and he's seen a lot of good pitching in the NECBL. Hit well, too, 305.
Well, he said, too, that the main difference he's noticed is the preparation between what a lot of guys have going into each game. There's a lot of talent up here, and he's just trying to find his footing.
He's working good ABs. He found himself on base twice yesterday in his Commodores debut. Had a sharp single in his first at-bat and then worked a walk after that. On his way to a 1-for-3 night.
Yeah, he was in the bottom third of the order. Michael Eze, Sean Darnell, and Caden Shapiro got a couple rallies going for the Doors in the game. He was a part of a lot of those bigger moments for the Doors, getting traffic on the bases and hoping that the top of the order could come through.
He's got a 2-2 count here at the top of the order. Ryan Young, really good fastball slider mix. That fastball into the low 90s. And there's the slider. Shapiro comes up empty. Strikes out. The first out of the bottom half.
I just went fishing. That's a good pitch. 2-2. That was one thing he also said to us, Zach, is that there's a lot less fastballs thrown in this league compared to the NECBL, where guys maybe don't have as many third and fourth sets of pitches going for them. They're in a spot 2-2. Maybe he's expecting the fastball way out of his shoes on that one. Wasn't able to come up.
Now here is Bazana. Went to square to bunt, but pulled back. He wants those hits any way he can get them.
I mean, hey, they all look the same. And right away, Sean Keys in on the grass by about a foot or so. We know Bazana can swing it, but nonetheless, he did see Brian Young just a couple of days ago and probably has picked up a few things since that last at-bat.
1-1. Fastball catches the zone. Bazana better than anybody else in this league at making adjustments, and that's why he's been so good this season. Big breaking ball, and just like that, Young's ahead 1-2.
Well, partner, in that matchup the other day, Bazana hit by a pitch in the first inning against Brian Young, came in to score on it, part of a 2-run inning for the Doors to begin the game. And he was caught looking in that last at-bat he had against Brian Young, so he's looking to get some against Brian here.
Spits on the fastball away to even it up. A lot of room in right center for Bazana. And he hits one off the end of the bat. Out to right field. Hurd's got a beat on it. And Bazana's retired.
Just out in front there. Nothing else to say there. Just pulled that one a little bit, floated in the air just a bit. Got the wind kind of blowing in from right field. So it's going to take some big cuts here to maybe threaten the wall here at the Gov.
Now Tyler McGregor comes up. Another breaking ball. This time it stays inside. Young is feeling really good with that pitch in the first inning.
Yeah, he is, and there's no reason not to go to it. It looks like a big bending curveball there that's he can use effectively against these lefties.
Behind 2-0 to McGregor. Hasn't missed by much on either pitch, but just a little in and now a little out.
John Grasso is calling him back there. You know, he's keeping him firm. It looked like that, too, in the top half with Scout Updike.
Out in front on the 2-0. McGregor just gets a piece of it. He had 5 hits in the last meeting against Cotuit. He's been swinging a good bat as of late, has the average up to 310. 32 hits on the summer. Joined the team June 28th, and since his arrival, Falmouth 20-8. 2-1. He's going to get out of play. Young's found himself back even.
Yeah, Zach McGregor wasn't really here when it was going downhill for Falmouth, but he got here at the time of when the run kind of turned around. It was an ugly but nonetheless still victory at Eldridge Park, a 4-3 win for Falmouth that began that run, as you mentioned, on June 28th. Really turned the season around.
McGregor fights off that fastball, keeps himself alive. It may or may not be completely related, but he's a sports leadership major at Northeastern. He's got a background in leading guys, and he stepped into that type of role here. Trying to keep this inning alive, the 2-2. Just low. Young was starting his trot back to the dugout, but instead, it'll be 3-2. Caleb Hall's on deck. Cleanup hitter tonight for Falmouth. McGregor continuing to work a good at-bat. He's going to get an 8th pitch from Brian Young in this first inning.
Well, Brian Young may not have gotten some of those calls earlier when it was 2-0, but he's still living around the zone, so much so that he's getting these cuts and, working foul ball efforts right now in terms of what McGregor's been doing. That fastball's low inside corner. It's on the black. That's more often than not called a strike 3, and McGregor's doing a good job battling.
Another payoff. Is fouled off again.
Just because his fastball spins so much, Zach, that just almost looks like it's rising just a little bit. That one just above the black, but nonetheless, right out of the hand all day, low 90s. McGregor's thinking he's got to turn on that and just doing what he can to find another pitch.
He was 1 for 1 with a walk against Young a couple of days ago. This time, Young might have gotten the best of him. High fly ball towards center. Few guys converging on it, but it's Tackett that finally makes the play for Cotuit. Falmouth down in order in the first. We're scoreless through 1 at the Gov. Head to the second on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Let's take you through a day of BP with Garrett Coe. You can kind of see all of our pitchers over here doing absolutely nothing. They do a really good job at that, but it's the only way you can pass through BP at this time. I got it. Let me look like I'm doing something today. Parker Coyle thinks he's going to steal this ball from me. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of messing around out here. Yeah, I like to think of myself as a multifaceted athlete who can play in the outfield, the infield, on the mound. I have a catcher's mitt. I'll get behind the plate. It's all about being versatile. All right, now we're working with fire. We got a first base mitt. We're gonna show just the other perks of being Garrett Coe. Coach Brian's trying to mess me up right now. He's trying to see if I can look bad on camera. I'm not gonna let it happen. Not today. Not while I'm in the limelight.
Samuel Tackett just made the play in the outfield to retire the side in the first. Now he'll come up to lead off the second. And if he wasn't awake already, he wakes up and said that one got him. Say it grazed his helmet, and he'll get down to first base.
Well, I don't know. Maybe just did get him. I'm not too sure, but certainly not the way you were anticipating this inning started based on what we saw from Scott Updike in that first inning. But he had a base runner on with Jeff Hurd's 2-out single. Now he gets early adversity like he did in the first inning here.
Good pitch to start off Trotter Harlan. Harlan out of college at Charleston. All-conference second team in the CAA. the Cougars of the College of Charleston. Couple of breaking balls that he's out in front of. He finished the season with College of Charleston on a 29-game on-base streak. 289, 25 extra base hits. Real good year. Not a real good AB there, though. 3 pitches, 3 sliders, 3 swings, and none of them pretty.
Not at all. And you mentioned all his accolades. Good thing you don't see him on base yet. Had 17 stolen bags. That was first for the College of Charleston this year. 17 of 20. Good effectiveness there, too. In terms of when he decides to go, it usually works out for him.
Now Trey Younger starts behind in the count. Another pitch in the same spot on the same pitch. He's headed to Georgia Tech next season, an Atlanta native headed back home. First couple of years played at Wofford, where he hit .360 for the Terriers. Breaking ball popped up. The runner was going. Bazana caught it. They're going to say it was on the transfer that it fell out. He tried to throw it quick.
Yeah, a lot of confusion there because with the infield charging, first off, Sam Tackett didn't really know where that baseball was. So when that ball is presumably caught by Bazana, you've got a shot to double him off. But Caleb Hall was in by the mound to make that play too. Typically, a ball like that by the pitcher's mound, you could see the first baseman taking priority, but no one was at the base to cover for the back move. Could have been a double play for Falmouth.
Tackett dancing at first again. And the fastball finds the zone to start off the catcher, Jack Scanlon.
I like the decision to mix it up there. You'd start with a lot of the hitters in a row with that breaking ball. Maybe different here because it's a lefty and you don't want to accidentally leave something over the plate, but just staying honest up there, not trying to rely too heavily on that same pitch.
Runner goes again. Heyman comes up throwing. It's a good throw. And the ball popped out of the glove as Clemens tried to place the tag on. So a stolen base moves a man in scoring position with 2 away. Cotuit trying to get on the board.
Yeah, good speed there from Tackett. The throw was good on the right side of the bag, so you always have a shot at it, but it kind of led Clemens a little bit too far into that natural second base position. It's a tough play for him to constantly be running there to try to receive that ball and then tag behind him. But it just falls in and out of his glove. Now you got a base runner in scoring position.
Spikes in the 1-1. Tackett really trying to get into the head of Updike. He's been back and forth, especially when he sees Updike looking at him. He's trying to keep him thinking about him.
I mean, you can see our field umpire right now, and Mike Robideau, the way he's fielding there, you can see the base runner pretty much in line with him sometimes.
Line drive sinking out into center, but it's going to hang up for Barry Walsh for out number 3. The leadoff man was hit. He got aboard, but he's left standing on the base paths. Falmouth trying to get it going in the bottom half of the second, but first a message from Cape Cod Healthcare with Destiny Sanchez.
Cape Cod Healthcare is proud to be the official healthcare sponsor of the Baseball League. When you need to be seen quickly for minor illness or injury, Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care offers a convenient and cost-effective treatment option with 6 locations across Cape Cod from Falmouth to Orleans. Open daily with no appointment needed and staffed by board-certified ER providers. View wait times at capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care, minor emergencies, major attention. Back to you guys in the booth.
Beautiful day for baseball at Gov Fuller Field. Get a look at the weather earlier, featuring Travis Bazana and our video director, Ellie Fideli. But it's blue skies and sunny.
Yeah, not too many clouds. It's a real pretty night. Turning into, I should say. But that was earlier. Just having some fun here before the game got going here at the Gov. Game 44, man. It's flying by. It has flown by. But at least we're lucky enough to be one of those 8 teams that gets to play more baseball at the conclusion of tonight.
And in an effort to keep some arms for more baseball, Cotuit going to a new arm right away. It's Camden Mounts out of the Catholic University of America up in D.C. He's making an appearance here with Cotuit, another one of those Martha's Vineyard Sharks.
Yeah, and again, when Martha's Vineyard season ended, it was just who was able to get a spot here in the Cape League. It's so close by in the NECBL, and Camden Mount's certainly one of those guys. We'll have his numbers in just a second, but ultimately had 5 starts, went 4-1, just over a 3.0 ERA. 34 innings pitched this year at Catholic University of America. 56 Ks to 14 walks, and was pretty solid, too, with Martha's Vineyard. Went 3-2 in 4 appearances. 3.55 ERA, struck out 31 batters, over 10 walks in the NECBL. I'd say that's pretty good to earn a spot in someone's bullpen in the Cape League now that the playoffs are about to get underway.
And Cotuit will certainly take it. They've had one of the better bullpens across the Cape, especially early in the season. The pitching, though, Matt, has kind of faltered as of late for Cotuit, dropping into the bottom half of the league in almost every category on the pitching side.
Pretty much. Outside of saves, it's right around middle of the row and south of that. Right now, their best statistic outside of the saves is runs. They're giving up the 4th most, and that's not really all that impressive. You look elsewhere, they don't limit too much of the slugging. They're right there at the 3rd best percentage. And we know that. We saw that with Falmouth the other day against this group. But that's the thing, Zach. Going into the postseason, so many different players, both offensively, a lot of different pitchers, because college coaches are pulling their guys, wanting them to, get back and get ready for the collegiate season. So read how deep you want into those numbers, but for the most part, there are a lot of new faces here getting opportunity.
Different squads headed into the playoffs, and we're going to see Cam Mounts to face the middle of the order for Falmouth. Caleb Hall, Gavin Turley, and Barry Walsh. Caleb Hall has found himself the bottom of the order. He's found himself leading off, and now he finds himself in the cleanup spot.
Not bad. I mean, good chance for Hall to show us what he's capable of.
Starts off with a called strike. Another off-speed pitch to start off a hitter. Talked with Caleb Hall earlier today about the Cape League as a whole, and he's just so excited to be up here. Said that sometimes he wonders if maybe it's not as big of a deal to some of the guys that are at these high major schools, but he was talking about for him just being here and getting the opportunity to compete at the same level as everybody else out here and be on a level playing field has been a really great experience for him.
And I think another thing, too, is this year, his freshman campaign, just played in 15 games, started 3 times. So the fact that he won the batting title in Florida earlier this year in that summer league and now getting a chance to play close to every day here, he's getting to learn more about himself as a hitter playing baseball every day.
Really good pitch, a 2-1 breaking ball that catches the zone. Evens it up, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Hall. Nine for 29 start to the summer. Looking for hit number 10 there. Couldn't keep it fair. Might have broken his bat in the process.
Yeah, sounded a little dead there, unfortunately. And Caleb Hall being one of those guys that, hasn't played a whole lot here recently, just got here. You got to wonder how many more bats he has in his arsenal after breaking that one. I'd have to think he might need to make a trip to get a new one ahead of the postseason after that one broke.
He's got Turley's bat right now, and it'll keep him alive.
Just barely, right off the end of the bat. That almost came right on line with us here. Got the netting here saving us from destruction in the press box. But
you've been begging for a ball all year long on the road.
Haven't gotten one. It's game 44.
You have not. We almost got one yesterday.
Very close, by a matter of inches.
Good job to stay with that breaking ball and get a piece of it. We saw a really good at-bat from Tyler McGregor against Brian Young to end that first inning. Now getting another good at-bat. This is pitch number 8 to Hall.
Also, another thing, too, you'd mentioned where he's been in batting order. We're seeing him at first base today. He's played corner outfield. He's played third base. He's been all over the place for Falmouth.
Elevates the fastball and finally wins the battle. Mounts starts his outing the same way that Brian Young did and the same way that Scout Updike did, with a strikeout.
Yeah, Zach, and that's something we have noticed over the course of the last few games. I mean, you look yesterday, Falmouth struck out 11 times on the road at Harwich. Right now, you've got 2 Ks for the first 4 at-bats. That number has increased a little bit for the Doors offensively. Something that typically they weren't doing all that much up until the last stretch of games here to close out the year.
Yeah, the 4th most strikeouts in the league at the plate. Another good curveball to start off Gavin Turley.
I would expect to see a lot of those pitches to Gavin Turley. Maybe not in that spot every time, just utilizing it, mixing it up in different variations, but Turley's done damage against this this Cotuit team.
2 pitches, 2 strikes. Turley asking Sean Grasso if that one caught the corner. Gets a nod, and he'll keep it going. Highest rated recruit in Oregon State history. Storied program out there, but Gavin Turley has quite a bit of talent, especially in that bat.
And it's really awesome to see that we've gotten to see it. You know, it took a while, but it's here. There is no doubt about that. He's been swinging a hot bat here over the last 3 weeks.
1-2. Nice diving stop by Tobias. Going to be a tough play, and Turley's going to beat it out for an infield hit. Ball was hit hard the other way off of Turley's bat. Cam Mounts couldn't get to it in time. First base runner of the game for Falmouth.
That's how you do it. Just shoot one the other way. Luckily, just a really good play over there, by the way, by Jacob Tobias, laying out to keep that on the infield. I just don't think you had the best jump from Mounts there on the mound to get over in time. It's still a close play because Gavin Turley's thinking base hit right out of the box anyways. He's thinking that's through. But his speed there, he was in there by a couple of steps for that infield knock.
Now Barry Walsh had a walk-off single a couple of days ago against the Gatemen, a 2 RBI knock that won it in the 10th. And then yesterday was a pinch hitter and had a 2 RBI single that tied it in the 8th. Before Falmouth fell 4-3 to Harwich. Shoots this one on the ground to short. Quick flip to second. The relay gets him. And the base hit is erased. Cotuit's faced the minimum through 2. We head to the 3rd from the Govs, scoreless between the Doors and the Kettleers.
Want to display some Falmouth pride? Show your support for the Commodores by picking up a rally rag at the intern tent. Rally rags are $2 each or 3 for $5.
Scout Updike out for inning number 3. Scoreless ball game. Some good pitching early between these 3 different arms that we've seen. Updike going to have to face 9-1-2, which means he's got to go through Mathis and Keys again. Hopefully trying to replicate what he did the first time he punched them both out. First he gets Ty Acker out of George Washington, making his Cotuit debut today. Updike again continuing to go to that breaking ball over and over.
Yeah, all 3 of the different arms we've seen today have had a good feel for that pitch. A lot of swing and miss. Updike's worked against the top half of the order, which we'll see very soon. Had the 2 strikeouts in a row to start off the game against right now, two of the hottest hitters in Cape Cod, and Cole Mathis and Sean Keys.
Falmouth trying to get the bats going on the other side and give Travis Bazzana a chance to get his bat going and chase that batting title. But trying to make one last statement on the day that ends the regular season with the MVP voting coming right after this.
Yeah, you'd like to think that Bazzana's got potentially his name in the hat for that conversation.
Strike 3 called. On the corner. Sits him down. 4 strikeouts for Scout Updike in his first Commodore start.
And 2 of them are on looking pitches. That time he goes fastball down at the knees. The one that he got looking previously, Sean Key's backdoor breaking ball in the outer third. So utilizing different pitches for the same result.
Starts off Cole Mathis with a strike. Wonder how long Updike's going to go in this start. Cassius Thomas starting to get loose. But Updike is cruising right now. He's got Mathis 0-2. Fastball off the handle is flipped out to Clemens. 2 up, 2 down in the third.
Yeah, it's fastball inside. Good spot. 0-2, try to work backwards. Not the best swing from Cole Mathis there, and a dead bat. Easy play for Clemens, who's also a different guy making a different spot there. He's played a lot of middle infield previously at Pittsburgh State, but this is the first time we've seen him at short.
Now Sean Keys started off with a changeup. Caught that outside corner. First time we've seen Updike go to the changeup. Working in that next pitch the second time through the order. Worked the first time. Why not go to it again? He's ahead 0-2.
Well, you got him with the breaking ball looking in a full count spot last time. You just got a looking strikeout on the fastball. I could think you could argue either spot here would work.
Goes off speed. Gets a swing and a miss. Scout Updike feeling good. 5 strikeouts through 3 scoreless. As we head to the bottom of the third inning here at the Gov.
Hi, this is Travis Bazzana from Oregon State University, and I'm going to be drawing our Beaver logo.
I'm going to be drawing the Raging Cajuns logo. And I'll be drawing the Oklahoma State logo.
Bad.
Talked about the batting title. Chances for Travis Bazzana. Here's the look at the average leaders entering today. All 3 of the top 3 guys, 0 for 1 right now.
Yeah, it's something you got to keep an eye on now. Bazzana's got about 16 more at-bats than Bender and Eblin, so it would probably take him to get one more hit than the other 2 guys to maybe have a chance. He did start over, as you mentioned, Zach. Obviously, you'd like to win it, but there's some bigger things in place, you know, starting in a couple of days. But obviously just trying to win the game, I think, is the first focus for a guy like Bazzana especially.
Luke Heyman trying to find Falmouth a base runner, see if they can get more than 3 to the plate in this third inning. There was the single from Gavin Turley with 1 out in that second inning, but the double play quickly erased him as Cotuit's pitching has matched the zeros put up by Scout Updike, who, if his day is done, it was a really good start to a bullpen day for Falmouth.
Absolutely. Had the 5 strikeouts, only gave up 2 base runners. One of them was a questionable hit by pitch, for that matter, and a 2-out single. That got stranded anyways. Looked really, really good. That breaking ball was rather sharp today from Scout Updike.
And that's a piece that if you can put that in the bullpen going into the playoffs, you will definitely take that for Falmouth. The more arms you can get in the back end of that bullpen that can give you consistent stuff, the better.
Potential diamond in the rough type stuff there, too. It's a good way to see it here in this last game.
Good at bat worked by Luke Heyman against Cam Mounts. Trying to give Falmouth leadoff base runner in the third. The payoff pitch. Went back to the breaking ball. Tried to go to the back door on Luke Heyman. He battles back, works the walk. Leadoff man aboard for the Doors in the third.
It's a good leave. That pitch was not bad. Just trying to, again, find that back door. Similar to what we saw Updike do against lefties. That time it's a lefty trying to do it against the right-handed bat and Luke Heyman, but probably about a ball or so off the plate. And that's real good discipline from the freshman, rather just finished his freshman year. Luke Heyman still real young, working good at bats here against some quality pitching.
Now Sean Darnell, he takes a strike. Floating slider towards the top of the zone. Darnell's been swinging it well for the Doors. 354 average in the first little over a week of games for him. Right back to the same pitch. This time it's a little lower and it gets a chopper. That's how you want to bounce back if you're Mounts. You walk a guy, next batter you get ahead 0-2.
That's one way to do it, and he's right now coming back with that same pitch. This time a little bit more down in the zone, but still getting a lot of plate. Something he wasn't doing the first time around, and maybe Sean Darnell can take advantage of that.
Speeds it up on the 0-2. Sailed out of the hand. Keeps the at-bat alive. Cam Mounts. Just trying to keep himself going. Chopper. That's going to get snagged at second. A spin and a nice play by Trotter Harlan to take a hit away from Sean Darnell.
That was placed really, really well. I'm talking about the ball from Darnell. The pitch was just off a middle. It's kind of a hanging breaking ball there in a 1-2. Darnell just didn't quite get it on that offering, but nearly probably should have had a base hit if it weren't for a great play from Trotter Harlan there. You mentioned it, spinning around, still completing the throw to find your bearings when you plant your feet and then still deliver to Tobias there. That was a really good play.
One 1-0 to start off Cade Clemens. Camden Mounts plays his college ball in D.C. at Catholic University of America, and he's from that area, Alexandria, Virginia native. His dad played rugby at the Naval Academy. Elevated fastball, gets another swing and a miss. He went to that pitch in the last inning to win the battle with Caleb Hall. Now 1-1 to Clemens. He had an RBI single in his first at-bat. 0 for 6 since. Mounts is really trying to spin that breaking ball on the back door against pretty much every right-handed hitter he's seen.
Just being cautious. I mean, at the end of the day, it is still his first appearance for Cotuit. Just trying to be wary. Walks hurt, but again, he hasn't really given up hard contact yet.
That will continue. So this time the breaking ball goes in towards the back foot of Clemens, and it's worked a 2-2 count.
But it still is getting, that pitch there got a lot of plate. I mean, it kind of hangs over there just a little bit. Ends up down and in, but right off the release, if you're Cade Clemens there, you can wait on that pitch and really drive it down the left field line over the head. of Sean Keys at third base there.
Heyman in scoring position, trying to put Falmouth on the board. Almost the same pitch in the same spot. Clemens continuing to fight. A lot of late bite to that pitch. It's not as smooth as a lot of breaking balls where you'll see them just kind of from the beginning move towards the spot. This thing nips and cuts quick.
That's why you get a lot of wave and misses at it, because it looks like one of those at first, and then he just snaps underneath the barrel.
Clemens flips it out to right. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Heyman had to wait on it. He'll hold up. But the single puts him on the corners with one away as the lineup flips for Caden Shapiro.
Went back to it again, but just got enough of it, did Cade Clemens. And Jeff Hurd took an interesting route to that baseball. He almost overran it there, had to field it awkwardly on the backhand. And obviously Luke Heyman was able to go on to third. Not the best read, though, off the bat from Heyman. I would have expected him to think that right off contact, give it a look and then go. He waited until that ball dropped to move on to third base.
Now Shapiro with an RBI chance. He starts out ahead in the count. Was a strikeout victim against Brian Young to start it off. Back-to-back left-handed pitchers to start this game for Cotuit. The 1-0. Just catches the zone, goes to the heater. Hasn't used it much, but when he's used it effectively.
Yeah, outside third, good pitch, 1-0.
Clemens has pretty good speed at first. Good stop by Scanlon behind the plate. That fastball dove away towards the left-handed batter's box. Shapiro looking for hit number 2 in as many games. He's going to have to do it with 2 strikes on him. If he wants it in this AB, it's 2-2.
There's that breaking ball again, Zach. Snaps low and away, in there for strike 2.
Second team All-Ivy League this year at Princeton for Shapiro. And he's working another good at bat. It's a full count.
Had himself a 2-2 last time against Brian Young. Now works a full count opportunity here.
Liked that sequence. Went with the slider in the zone, then tried to throw it darting away. The 3-2. Went to the front door on that pitch, and a good adjustment from Shapiro to get a piece of it and keep it alive.
And that got the zone. That's a really good pitch. To use that pitch and to trust your ability when you use it on the outside third twice in a row, and then to have to find a different release point in terms of where you're starting that ball. That ball starting at the inside knee of Caden Shapiro ends up on the inside third.
Another 3-2. This breaking ball is pulled down the line. It's taking Hurd away from the plate. Heyman tags, and he'll be in there. A sac fly for Shapiro, and the Doors are on the board in the third.
Good to see the new guy find an RBI here, and it's because he had seen that pitch consecutively 4 times in a row. And that time it's that slider that kind of snaps a little bit, but stayed with it to pull it. And that allows Heyman there to just be able to have a good eye to watch and see when that catch is made by Hurd. And because his momentum's taking him towards the right field line, Heyman, in plenty of time, able to get there. And even with it being cut off by Tobias, he was still going to be in there anyway.
Here's Travis Bazzana. Flew out to Jeff Hurd his first time up. And he takes to get ahead here in at bat number 2. The average sits at 373 after that first out. Trying to catch Derek Bender, who sits at 381 now. Still a chance for some more runs in this third inning for Falmouth if Bazzana's able to come through. Front door breaking ball catches the zone. He has thrown that pitch more often than any other, and it's not particularly close.
Nah, it's worked for him. Shapiro fouled off a lot of pitches, and
Mazzana jumps on one, but a sliding stop, and he's retired. But Falmouth gets a run in the third, taking a 1-0 advantage to the fourth on the Commodores Baseball Network. That's the score here at the Gov. But still 4 other games going on around the Cape, some of them with playoff implications. We're going to send it down to Destiny Sanchez with all your scores from around the Cape.
Guys, a few scores around the Cape. The Harwich Mariners lead the Brewster Whitecaps 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th. The Bourne Braves are ahead of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. The YD Red Sox lead the Wareham Gatemen 2-0 in the top of the 3rd. And the Chatham Anglers and the Orleans Firebirds are scoreless in the bottom of the 1st. We'll catch you on the other side. You're watching Falmouth Commodores Baseball.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats of the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll doors. Joined tonight in the booth by special guest Chuck Sturdivant. Here, up in the booth, former Commodores president, Cape League president, and enjoying some good baseball on Game 44.
No question about it. Thank you guys for inviting me.
So, it's been a lot of time here, Centennial year. You guys just got to honor Coach Jeff Trundy before the game for 25 years here. What do you think that really has meant to him, and what has he meant to this organization?
Number one, tonight he was shocked. And I think I saw a little tear in his eye. But he wouldn't talk, which is fine. I understand that. But he has meant a tremendous to this entire organization for all these years. We may not have won championships, but we were a fighting team. We had great ball players. They all respected him, and he will always tell you that was the priority, is the players.
And he's got a shot, a good team headed into the playoffs right now, trying to pick up that first championship in year number 25.
Yes, yep. You never know. Playoffs, anything can happen. So,
got a good game early. Some good pitching from Scout Updike, making his first start of the summer with Falmouth, and 3 scoreless innings, 5 strikeouts, and now he'll give way to Cassius Thomas. Righty out of Duke will have to face the middle of the Cotuit order. Started off.
good pitch.
Snapped in the fastball there, and that was a really good pitch. He's been able to play the breaking ball off the heater when he's been in the zone, and the fastball definitely plays. Low to mid-90s. With a good off-speed pitch as well. His last outing, Matt, was definitely his best of the summer.
Absolutely. Went 1 inning, gave up a hit. It was an earned run in that win against Hyannis the other night. But found the zone, located, and was able to set up other pitches off the fastball, as you just alluded to.
There's the curveball that stays upstairs. He falls behind Jeff Hurd, 2-1. Hurd has the lone hit for Cotuit today. It was a 2-out single in the first off of Updike. Fouled back out of play. Cassius Thomas, another one of those really talented freshmen that we see a lot of, and the Cape League's really been known for those type of guys that have really good potential, freshmen and sophomores that just find a way to get it done. Swing and a miss. Elevated fastball, punches out Hurd. Enter the game, finds a strikeout. All 4 pitchers today between the two sides have started their outings with a swinging strikeout.
That's how you do it. And you mentioned him using that fastball, picks up the 6th strikeout of the day for the Falmouth pitching staff, and Zach, you were talking about players and getting opportunities to come up here to the Cape League. Chuck, during your time, so many different players that you've helped work their ways here through the Cape League. What has been your favorite part of managing that side of the game?
I think seeing them progress in what they need to learn from here, and then going on to their college season and then into pro ball. But the best freshman I ever had and ever saw, and even Peter Gammons feels, was the Darren Erstead. He was so all-around ball player. If you saw him working out every single day, you'd know why he was the #1 pick in '95.
There have been a couple of #1 picks from Falmouth in the time over the last 100 years. You had Erstad was there, Adley Rutschman most recently.
Yeah.
Another Oregon State Beaver with a shot at it in Bazana. He's going to be towards the top of the draft for sure.
I think he definitely should be.
Cassius Thomas, welcome into the ball game. 2 batters, and he's cruising, 2 strikeouts.
But he shows us a different way, Zach. He shows us that time the slider, able to use a different pitch to help him out when typically he'd been relying on the heater to get by. We're seeing a different Cash Thomas at the right time of the season.
And a guy that has really picked it up, headed to the playoffs, and can be a big bullpen piece for Falmouth if he is going like this. He was working with Steve Cishek a little bit last week, and haven't talked to Cassius about that meeting yet, but since then he's been locked in finding the zone. Yanked that one to Samuel Tackett, who was hit by a pitch from Updike. Only man from Cotuit to get into scoring position, but was stranded there.
But you can see it. Cassius Thomas is always so composed on the mound. He doesn't have a lot to his motion, just right now gets into it like that, but finds a zone both times in this at-bat with that pitch. First, it's on the front side, and then he finds the outer third.
The curveball's so good, and that's what we've been talking about, wanting the fastball to find the zone because he can play that curveball off it. He's done it really well in this inning. Almost got a swing there on that 1-2. See if he can win the battle against Samuel Tackett and get the Falmouth offense back to the plate in the bottom of the 4th, try and continue to add more. Went right back to it there. Seen it a lot. See if he goes to it here or maybe elevates that fastball. All right, Chuck, where are you going? You going fastball or you going the breaking ball here?
I think he's going with the fastball.
Best pitch in the right time. I like it.
The 3-2 is the fastball, and he strikes him out. Maybe you've been around a little bit, Chuck. Seen a thing or two?
Well, you just go based on what he's been doing all along. And the way the hitter was in approachment, that the fastball was going to, if he did it, if he threw it over the plate, he was going to get the strike.
Cassius Thomas strikes out the side in the top of the 4th. Falmouth bats back on the other side of the break on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Your big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Back at the Gov. It's the bottom of the 4th, so that means trivia time, but we've got Chuck Sturdivant on for the trivia question, so we're going to see if you know this one. Let's take a look at it. It's fitting with the theme today, talking about Bazana's chance to the batting title. When was the last Falmouth, or who was the last Falmouth Commodore to win the Cape League batting title? Matt, do you know this one?
No.
No.
You're the one who comes up with them before I even arrive at
That's
the ballpark.
true, yes. I mean, that's the point, because I got to be able to ask somebody the trivia question.
I can't think. I
All
really
right.
can't.
I will give you a hint. It's recent.
Yeah, I was going to say around Adley's time, wasn't it?
It
2015?
It was a little after that.
Okay. So,
I mean, are we talking a little after that? It's probably like before 2020? Is that maybe 2019 is what I'm maybe thinking? I don't know.
You may be on the right track.
We'll find out later.
That we will. And if you don't come up with it, we'll let you know, Chuck. What
All
it
right,
is
good.
After the inning. But a new pitcher for Cotuit. It's Will Jacobson taking the mound out of Harvard. He's trying to have himself a better outing than he did last time he met the Doors.
That was in that football score for Falmouth, the 27-2 win. Only an inning and a third. 11 hits, 12 earned runs. Falmouth just torched him. That was in the heat of that fifth inning, the time that the Doors batted around 2 different times.
Yep.
Never seen anything like it. Probably won't ever see anything like it.
Have you seen an inning where a team sends 19 to the plate in
No.
this league before?
No, not at all.
It was definitely a game to remember for Falmouth, and the first pitch hits Tyler McGregor. Not the start Jacobson's looking for. Tried to go to the breaking ball on that first pitch, and it's a base runner for the Doors.
Here we go, Chuck. We might be with you up here for a long time if history's going to repeat itself.
Well, Caleb Hall will get a chance. He wasn't in the lineup that day. He came in as a pinch hitter, but did not see Jacobson. He just got a couple of at-bats in the 8th and 9th. Jacobson making Jack Scanlon work a little bit. Caleb Hall was a strikeout victim against Cam Mounts, but worked a really good at-bat against him. Struck out on the 8th pitch of that AB. And is ahead 2-0. The more you can continue to work at bats, the better. Chuck, in your time around here, what's really been the biggest value you've seen in playing good baseball heading into the playoffs? Falmouth entered yesterday winning 9 of 11. They've won 9 of 12 down the stretch. How much value does that give you going into what's coming up next week?
Well, it gives you great value as long as your players stay healthy and can be here and stay. That's the key.
Jeff Trundy mentioned that when I talked to him about the playoffs, too. He said it really is a war of attrition. Who's going to keep their guys the longest and who can stay healthy?
And especially with the pitching.
That's why it was such a big thing to see that type of outing today from Scout Updike, a guy that just got in, coming in and giving you good work. If he can do that in the playoffs, it's just an added bonus.
Yep.
Well, I think he's earned himself an opportunity in the playoffs, regardless of when in the ball game it is. Playoff baseball is playoff baseball.
It's always got things going. The crowd, a good one tonight. Caleb Hall goes down looking, takes strike 3 on the outside corner. Really good battle back by Jacobson after falling behind 3-0. He caught that corner.
Yeah, utilizes the fastball. Really good spot.
Did he? Oh, he did.
Right on the black. I mean, that's a good pitch. It's the right call from John Grisseau behind the plate. That's tough for Caleb Hall.
Now Gavin Turley comes on up. First pitch swinging. Turley started the summer slow, but he's really been heating up as of late. Is that something you see a lot with the guys out here on the Cape? I know you've got the adjustment to wood bat. We talked about that quite a bit, but guys like Gavin Turley that are just so talented, took them a little bit and then springboard off.
And that happens a lot. Happens a lot.
Turley singled in his first at-bat in the second. Finds himself even here at 1-1. Trying to add some more runs to this scoreboard. The game's against Cotuit. This is game number 6 between the two teams. There was one meeting that was 3-2 back on July 5th at Lowell Park. Every other meeting has been decided by 7 or more runs. Turley trying to keep it fair down the line, but can't. Up towards that hill. We were talking before that Caleb Hall strikeout, though, about the crowd here. The atmosphere a couple of days ago for that walk-off win against Hyannis in the 9th and 10th was electric. It's the best we've seen it all summer. Got to think that's where we're trending for the playoff game here on Saturday night against Hyannis again.
No question. You'll see the football bleachers should be filled. As long as the weather's decent, they'll be here.
Falmouth definitely hoping so. Talked to a couple of the players. They loved it. Turley goes down looking at the fastball. Back-to-back backwards Ks after the leadoff hit batter.
Same pitch, same spot, Zach. Not much else to it. Just came up empty there to Gavin Turley. He had that base hit first go around, but credit to Will Jacobson. That hit batter, we've seen him kind of get all over the place and erratic a little bit, but not this time. He's still going against that adversity here, but has picked up 2 big strikeouts.
Barry Walsh hit the ball pretty hard last time, but right at the shortstop for a double play ball. Won't be a double play this time with 2 outs, but a chance to keep the inning alive for Luke Heyman. Walsh, another one of those recent adds to the team. You saw a big influx of players back in the middle of June, and now you're seeing a real big influx of players right before the playoffs again. Walsh, broken bat, popped off of the glove of the shortstop Acker, and it's going to be a single for Barry Walsh. It's the second broken bat single he's had this season. They cost quite a bit, but it feels better when you're standing at first base.
You like that one, Chuck? That
yes.
was a good one.
Yes.
An expensive base hit, but Heyman steps up. It was the first hit of the season for Barry Walsh that he broke his bat on. We were messing with him about it after the game, and he was saying the same thing, kind of laughing it off. Now Luke Heyman with an RBI chance. McGregor will be going on contact with 2 away. Heyman sent that one back towards press box up here. Pretty recently renovated press box, Chuck.
Yes. Yep. We raised $1,030,000 to redo the field and everything, and we did another $35,000 for all the broadcast equipment here, and I raised $500,000 for all new lights 14 years ago.
It certainly has made a big difference. That wild pitch moves them both up, and now a base hit from Heyman could score 2. But going around the league and talking with everything, the Gov has really turned into one of the best parks out here on the Cape, not only to broadcast a game and to play a game, but also to catch a game for these fans.
I agree. Well, that's why now the committee voted to have the All-Star game next year here.
That'll be a great experience at the Gov for everybody involved. Should be a lot of fun. Year 101 starting off well for the Commodores.
I mean, I've had 4 of them. I hosted 4 of them here over the years.
Wow. What was your favorite one? Do you have a favorite one?
Oh, God, I think 94 probably was one of the better ones.
Okay.
But then we did 90, I think it was 94, 95, because Wareham ended up having school construction, and so they had asked us to host the game again, and we did. And I can't remember if it was 94 or 95. They were all starting.
It was a really cool festivities this year, going down to White House Field and checking everything out. Heyman continuing to battle a lot of foul balls by Falmouth in this game, just staying alive and fighting. Working good ABs.
Chuck, now that the Centennial season's kind of wrapping itself up, still some playoff baseball, obviously. Has this year been everything you kind of envisioned, that the committee envisioned with everything you had planned, that list of laundry to kind of make sure had to happen? What would you say?
Yeah, especially I would say the first few weeks was a little bit of a downer, the way they were playing. But I know what Jeff goes through every single year, and once he got all his players, more of his players in the nucleus, then I knew they're going to go somewhere. So hopefully they'll continue.
And they have taken off for sure. Heyman strikeout retires the side. The door strand a pair in scoring position. Chuck, thank you so much for joining us up here. It's been a lot of fun. Falmouth headed to the 5th. 1-0 Doors in front from the Gov.
Thank you.
Looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just one click away. Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store located at 147 T-Ticket Highway and try a slice today.
From all of us at Supreme Pizza, we would like to wish the Falmouth Commodores a great season.
Not a ton left to change in these standings, but let's take a look at the Cape League standings And get a look at these playoff matchups as well. The 1 and the 4 and the 2 and the 3 to play each other. The West is set. Cotuit and Bourne, Hyannis and Falmouth on Friday night. On the East, though, it's a little different. None of the matchups set just yet because Orleans and YD still could flip-flop depending on how the games go.
Yes, and right now, bottom 4 at Spillane Field. The Red Sox on top 5-0 to the Gatemen. So YD's doing its part of the deal to try to get back to first. They lost head-to-head yesterday, down by 1 point to Orleans overall. Should YD win, you see those two teams flip-flop. However, if the Firebirds can win, they control their own destiny. The Firebirds would get that spot back. Right now at Eldridge Park, 0-0, top 3 with the Chatham-A's and the Orleans Firebirds.
Cassius Thomas struck out the side in his first inning work. He's back out to face Trotter Harlan, Trey Younger, and Jack Scanlon. The top of the 5th. First pitch swinging. It won't be a strikeout, but it should be an out as Clemens fires across for out number 1.
Cash Thomas, how are you? Just really locating the zone is Cassius Thomas right now, finding that pitch, and you know what? He throws it in the low to mid-90s. It's a tough pitch to get on if he wants to put it, typically against all these college hitters, middle, you can kind of survive if you throw it 95 miles an hour. At the end of the day, it's still really hot and tough to pick up and swing at. Right there, it results in a ground ball out.
Fouled back to the screen on the first pitch by Trey Younger. Back to the batting average chase real quick. All of the top 4 batting average guys in the Cape League tonight are 0 for 2. And so there's still a shot for any of those guys if they can finish their game strong.
I'll tell you what, if Pizzana knew that, he would say, oh, I should have had 2 hits, just knowing him.
He definitely would have.
With his at-bats. But regardless, it'll be fun to see down the stretch here of this ball game if he'll be able to get a knock and make it close.
3 pitches, 3 strikes. Trey Younger heads back. Cassius Thomas is dealing right now.
He's locating all of his different pitches, and that is a really good sign for one of the arms that we were excited about getting in here to this bullpen for the Doors. Certainly not the start you wanted from him beginning this season. That inflated sort of ERA up to over 18. Right now, it's going to take a massive drop.
And look at him, Matt. Jack Scanlon hasn't even stepped in. He's already on the mound, ready to go. He is locked in this game. The first ball of the inning is outside. That was only the 5th pitch of the inning. Jack Scanlon flew out to Barry Walsh in center in his first at-bat against Scout Updike. Falmouth pitching the story of the game so far. No swing, the ruling. Travis Pizzana can't believe it at second base. He's got his arms up in the air. That looked weird. I thought he went around when he was falling down.
I'm not too sure. Got to be honest with you, I was looking up the last time Cassius Thomas looked this solid. He had a couple outings of 1 inning, 3 strikeout worked in his numbers, limited appearances at Duke this year. I didn't see that swing myself, but he looks really good.
It's 2-1. He bounces back with a fastball in the zone. Mike Rabideau down that line made the call of the no swing. So the Miami Hurricane and Scanlon with the advantage. ACC matchup between the Duke Blue Devil and the Miami Hurricane. Spots a fastball low and away. This is why Cassius Thomas was listed as one of the top prospects coming out of high school in the country out at Sierra Canyon.
No doubt about it. He was the number 2 right-handed pitcher out of California in that class.
Scanlon works the count full.
But 11 strikeouts and 5 innings pitched this year at Duke as a freshman. He's got the stuff, and he's showing it off.
But a fastball that gets barreled is going to go a long way with that type of heater. Scanlon drives one out, first home run of the summer, and just like that, we're tied.
Remember we were talking about fastball, middle, and sometimes you can't catch up to it. Well, when you use it a lot, if you get your barrel on it, it goes a long way. That ball was crushed. 382 according to TrackMan here, and wow, that one was a no-doubter to tie us up.
Now Ty Acker comes up. Cassius Thomas trying to get through the second inning of work with as little damage as possible. Wonder if Thomas is still thinking about that check swing call.
He'd be out of the inning.
Instead, he's behind 2-0 to Ty Acker. Obviously, you can't completely play that game because then maybe the pitch that was a called strike for strike 2 wouldn't have been taken for strike 3. It's always a dangerous game to play, but that doesn't mean that Thomas isn't thinking about it.
No, and pitchers expect to, have certain, not pitches go their way, but ones like those that are relatively obvious not go against them. Then, in a spot like that, you're using a different pitch. Maybe it's a curveball instead of wanting to go with that fastball in the corner away. It changes up the game plan, and that's the biggest thing that can sometimes get in these guys' heads.
The 2-2 to Acker. Sent right back to the screen.
Had a little bit more oomph behind that one. 93, the hottest we've seen it from Cassius Thomas so far. Just taking some of that anger maybe out on.
That's one way to do it.
Delivering that fastball. I mean, the way he throws it, you could argue that for sure.
He is in the zone right now. Spiked the 2-2 off the mask. John Grasso behind the plate. Second straight hitter working a full count.
Well, you've got activity in the bullpen. You've liked what you've seen from Cassius Thomas, but after the 2-out home run and now a full count, you'd like to see him find a way to just put this to an end. Get through your 2 innings and get back to that dugout tied at 1.
The 3-2. Upstairs. Acker works the walk. Couple of times, Thomas has been one pitch away from getting out of this inning. Unable to do it yet. Still been a really good outing for him and got to be really encouraging headed to the playoffs. But now Cole Mathis comes up. Talk about guys that can mash a fastball. Cole Mathis is that. And the first time today that Cassius Thomas has had to work out of the stretch. Blows a fastball by him, power on power, and the pitcher wins.
That's why you got it. But again, that's up and in. That's in a good spot. You got to trust it to be able to want to deliver it there against a hitter like this.
Delivers again. Goes to another heater, but this time outside. Thomas was ranked in the top 120 prospects in the 2022 draft by MLB Pipeline. He's got all the potential to be a special arm coming out of college in the 2025 draft.
Yeah, should have another good opportunity for him. Again, getting up here after his freshman year. Should be a good sophomore campaign as well for him.
Keeping an eye on Acker over at first base. It's been a pitcher's ball game today at the Gov. A lot of good work from the guys on the mound, and there's a good curveball to make it 2-2.
Well, now you're back to that spot, as you mentioned. One pitch away. One strike away. You got that cut and a miss on the fastball up and in to begin the at-bat. Do you trust it to go back to that against a guy who, as you mentioned, does well against the heater?
It is the fastball. It's hit high, but not too deep. Turley with a long run in. And he'll make the grab. Mathis 0 for 3. Falmouth doing well against Cotuit's best bat. But the solo shot from Jack Scanlon ties it at 1. Headed to the bottom of the 5th from Falmouth. Gonna send it down to the field with Destiny Sanchez, who had a chance to talk to Travis Bazzana earlier this week.
Thanks, guys. I had the chance to sit down with Oregon State's Travis Bazzana and talk about his goals in baseball and the impact he has made and will continue to make on the game. Here's a little preview of the sit-down interview, and it's on YouTube right now.
The 15, 16-year-old me, like whatever I am now, it'd be like ecstatic.
Well, everyone knows Travis Bazzana.
Deep drive into right. It's a grand slam for Bazzana.
And here at the Cape, you hit for the cycle. We've had 5-for-5 games, making history for the Commodores, and also doing things that haven't even been done in the MLB yet.
Travis Bazzana didn't miss that, not even a little bit.
Are you able to conceptualize all of this?
You could say it's my why,
Yeah.
making an impact on the next generation of kids. I really want to play to the standard I think I can play. And
You have a why and a bigger purpose in why you're playing the sport. You are destined to be great.
Definitely. Make sure to take a look. That came out really, really well. Good work by Destiny Sanchez and all of our crew that was out there working on that. Our videographers this season have done a great job. Laura Schroeder, Scott Samanchik, and McKenna Wall. Jack Moreland, our photographer, was out there working with them as well to get that done. And took a lot of work, but I know everybody's really happy with how that came out. It's definitely worth a listen. It's a good length as well, but you'll learn a lot about one of the best players out here on the Cape this summer, one of the best players in the country in Travis Bazzana.
Yeah, it's cool to have him want to give back a little bit and also talk about things other than baseball. You know, when you're a prospect like that, everyone wants to know, okay, how are you hitting the ball the way you are? And you're coming from Australia, you're the first player to do this, this, and that. But what about, like, the roots of how you grew up and fell in love with the game and learning other ways of life over there in Australia? All of that and more in that conversation. And that guy right there, number 7, he can swing it. We know that. But these guys are athletes, and they're people off the field, and Travis Bazzana is no different.
Not at all. He's going to get a shot if anybody reaches here in this inning, trying to get the lead back against the new arm for Cotuit. It's James Quinlivan out of Northeastern.
It's a debut. It's the first time we'll see him toss on the mound here, one of those Huskies that we talked about yesterday. A lot of Huskies on that Harwich team, and same with the Doors as well. But Quinlivan here, 3.94 ERA over 13 appearances, 16 innings, 5 hits, just 7 runs against. Just over a 1 on the whip. I mean, not too bad. Good numbers for the lefty, who's going to see the bottom 8, 9, and then back up to the top 1 for Falmouth here in this bottom of the 5th.
Going to get a shot potentially for Bazzana, who's still fighting for that batting title. And he's still got a shot, even though he's 0-2 today.
He's alive. That's all you need. You need a fighting chance. And obviously he's not looking at the iPad right now trying to, okay, where do I need to be? Where am I at? But I think he knows that if he could put together, like he said 3 hits would probably do it for him.
He might be able to do it with 2 with how things are trending.
That's also true. Turn up the offense here a little bit in this game as well, and you would argue that he'd be able to have a chance for a couple more knocks down the stretch.
Yeah, it's been a pitcher's game. Just 5 total hits, a run per side. Quinlivan with a 1-1 count to Sean Darnell.
And Zach, obviously we both know that, lineups are resting some guys getting ready for the playoffs, wanting to see some things from these pitchers. That's why it's a lot of quick in and out for especially Cotuit. But so far so good for all the arms that have come in. You got to be impressed for both sides, saying, hey, got some guys that can pitch here.
Another debut upcoming for Falmouth. Grant Goodlad warming in the pen. Darnell, that's a tough hop for Tobias. He'll find Quinlivan, and he slaps the tag on Darnell for out number 1. Another nice play by Tobias over at first. He's had a few of those today.
Not the first time I've seen him make some athletic plays over there at first base. That was one thing that Willie Bloomquist really spoke highly on Tobias. Had a really good freshman year, was a freshman All-American, but he slimmed down a lot, got a lot more tone, put on some muscle over there at first base, and became the everyday first baseman at ASU this sophomore year. And he's made some good plays over there, and here on the Cape as well. And that's just what he does over there, able to slap the tag, receive that hop, crazy hop there on his backhand side, to then have the wherewithal to get the flip down.
Cade Clemens gets ahead in the count 2-0. He has one of the 3 Falmouth hits today. It was a blooper down that right field side. That moved Luke Heyman over to third and set up for the sac fly. Good pitch to get back in the count from Quinlivan. It's 2-1 to Cade Clemens. We haven't seen it yet from him, but he's got a lot of pop in that bat. 18 home runs with Pittsburgh State this season. Started his college career at Wichita State. We're heading over to play with the Gorillas at Pittsburgh State. Some electric mascot names for him, by the way. The Shockers at Wichita State, and now the Gorillas at Pittsburgh State.
Yeah, he certainly brings it and has the mascot game down, no doubt.
Also has the bloop single game down. A pair of them for Cade Clemens. Flips the changeup the other way. And one out base runner to flip the lineup card.
Stays with that pitch low and away. Maybe not the one you're expecting to go after 2-1. A changeup in a good spot low and away, but if you commit to it, you have to stay with those pitches down in the zone because that's what'll happen. Not a lot off the bat, just 70 exit velo, and it just dies out there in right center the other way. Good piece of hitting there for that second hit of the day for him.
Caden Shapiro had a sac fly last time. Fouls this one off his foot. This is his third AB. All of them against different pitchers. That's been the way of the game today. Nobody has seen the same guy twice in the Falmouth lineup.
And that's tough. That's really, really hard because you're trying to learn from previous at-bats. The only thing you can do is be a visual observer in the on-deck circle or in the dugout. But even that, if they're changing every inning, it makes it tough.
Only two guys on either side have seen the same guy. Cole Mathis and Sean Keys saw Scout Updike twice, but that's it. Good snag by Scanlon behind the plate to keep Cade Clemens at first. He had a big secondary. He was ready to go if that ball got away.
That was very nonchalant of Scanlon, too, there to make that snag.
That one's over the heart. And it's 1-2 to Shapiro. Big, tall lefty on the mound. A lot of lefties in this lineup for Falmouth, per usual. Not as many as you're used to seeing, though. There's a good stretch in the middle of the order where you got a lot of righties. 3 lefties to start, then 4 righties in a row. Shapiro skies one into left. Tackett's got it. And there's 2 away for Bazana.
Well, you got to start counting those at-bats if you're Travis Bazana. This is a chance for not only for the batting title purposes of trying to find a way to get a knock here, but for this ball game too. I mean, it's already been a bullpen game, so you have to imagine that some arms are going to come in to limit over the course of just an inning or two. That's been the course of this game, but now you've got a shot. You got to find a way here to try to break this tie.
He's out in front 1-0. Both Bender and Eblin are due up in the next inning for Bourne. Out there at Doran Park. They're on top of the Harbor Hawks right now. Bazana ground ball. It gets through, a base hit. Clemens headed first to third. And Bazana's 1 for 3. That'll help. He's putting himself in that conversation, and he keeps the hit streak alive as well. Up to 12 games now for Bazana entering this postseason.
Fastball middle, out in front of it, pulls it through the right side despite a good diving effort from Harlan, but 100 off the bat, that's a tough way to get down to it, but Bazana's not going to miss that pitch. I mean, it's in a good spot, base hit all the way, and even with how hard it was hit, good speed from Clemens, good aggressive secondary to allow him to turn on the jets and go first to third.
So after that hit, here's your update. Derek Bender's average at 0 for 2 sits at 377. McGregor loops one down the line, a base hit. That's going to score a run. Bazana heads to third. That update will have to wait because Falmouth's back in front. It's 2-1. Nice job by McGregor. Not a lot of hard hit contact in this inning for Falmouth outside of the Bazana single, but they work their way around. 3 hits now off of Quinlivan. And the Doors get that run right back.
That's a jam shot fastball, just inside on him. Executed relatively well by Quinlivan, but that's what happens when you've got good hitters able to muscle off pitches there down the right field line.
Speaking of that update, 377 the average for Bender at 0 for 2. Bazana had 1 for 3. Oh, and a balk. That's going to score another. Man, the Commodores not wanting this update yet, no, apparently.
Apparently not.
Got to bring another across on the balk. I'll just get it out. Bazana's at 375 after that hit. So he's right there depending on the way that things go. We know he wants it, and he's given himself a shot into the later innings. That balk makes it a 2-run lead. Cassius Thomas is the pitcher of record now for the Doors. If he's done, was a good inning and some good work for him and a chance to get a win on his record heading into the playoffs.
That works, because I think Goodlad is ready to go here. Looks like he's just talking to the bullpen catcher for us, Willie, over there. But that's what you like to see. The offense picking up a really good effort from Cassius Thomas and delivering here in this inning with the help of that balk, obviously, but finding the hits. Entering this inning, Falmouth had only just 3 hits for the entire ball game. You've got 3 in this inning.
Really like to see that. If you can find a 4th hit in this inning, you might add a 4th run on the scoreboard. McGregor's going to be going on contact with 2 away. Caleb Hall 0 for 2 with a pair of punch-outs against a couple of different Cotuit arms. Looking to pick himself up and keep the train moving. 1-0, another blooper, and it's going to drop as a fair ball again down the right field line. Hall's headed for second. The throw from Hurd is not in time. It's an RBI double. They trade places, and Falmouth is peppering that right field line with soft base hits.
Jack, you might have to repaint that line in the right field line right now. There's been a lot of balls dropping right in that area for the Doors, and no different right here. Fastball in to Caleb Hall there, and he does the same thing. Just able to just get jammed on it, put it down the other way. That's how you do it. When the ball's working your way, that's what happens. You get rewarded for fighting off good pitches.
Now Gavin Turley already has himself a hit. Looking for his second.
This is something that Falmouth's done really recently, Zach. 2-out hits to score runs. You had the Clemens hit that was putting him on first with 1 out. Then Shapiro flew out. Now you've gotten 3 hits in a row to bring in those runs.
Called strike to Turley. Evens it up. Another fastball in. The inning continuing, and it's got to be frustrating for Quinlivan on the mound because he's executing. He's throwing good pitches. He's getting bad swings, but they're still finding grass.
It's a funny game. It's kind of the only other way to put it.
Turley pulled it foul. He tried to jump on an inside heater. We've seen him do that plenty of times so far this summer. Couldn't keep that one fair. Headed over towards the fans on that side. A really good crowd like we talked about earlier. Once again, one of the best of the summer. I'm really excited to see what this crowd looks like on Saturday night because it's a playoff game. It's a weekend. Should be a real good crowd.
Well, Chuck was saying that the football bleachers down the lines should be full. I mean, right now they're almost full.
Yeah, it's getting close.
It looks pretty darn full here at the Gov. And that's what happens when you play good baseball. Outside of the Cape League being known for what it is, if you're playing good baseball, more people are going to come out too. That's what we've seen.
3-2 to Turley's upstairs, and the inning continues. Falmouth put up 14 in the 5th. The last time they played Cotuit, they put up 3. Still a long way to go to get to 15, but they are moving it along here. So I don't know that they're going to top it and get 15, but we'll find out.
And not that it matters, because I don't think we'll see that. But there's no max limit for our scoreboard here with Falmouth in terms of the digits and our values of up to 20 here. It's a system where you can type in the score and it updates. So should you have more, it won't happen.
Walsh with a pop-up to right field, but this time it's caught. Trotter Harlan runs it down. Falmouth is retired, but 3 come across in the bottom of the 5th. We head to the 6th inning from Falmouth. The Doors in front 4-1. Matt Venezia will have the play-by-play on the other side of the break.
The Falmouth Commodores have been part of the heartbeat of Falmouth since 1923. Thousands of fans flock to Gov Fuller Field each season to see future Major League ball players working to reach their dreams. All of this wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. As a nonprofit volunteer organization, the Commodores raise funds to cover operational costs. Fans support the local businesses who back the Commodores. It's what community is all about. There are so many ways we incorporate our sponsors into the fun, whether it be banners, print ads in our program, mentions on public address and broadcast, as well as in-game experiences. So however you support the Falmouth Commodores, we thank you.
Top of the 6th, getting ready to go. Before we meet the new pitcher, we have our answer for the trivia. That was the last time we had that batting title champ, which, by the way, is currently the Commodore's second baseman.
Travis Bazzana did hop in front at the moment as Bender was retired, but Zach Deloche, back in 2019, he had himself a real good season with the Doors. On his way to the batting title, now in the Seattle Mariners organization.
Well, Zach, we talked about all those Martha's Vineyard acquisitions from the NECBL. We got another one here, and it's another debut. Grant Goodlad toes the rubber here out of FDU.
Grant Goodlad had himself a good season at FDU and good stuff. Martha's Vineyard, but got to think FDU, you know where the mind's going to go right now. And our video director, Ellie Fideli, not too happy about this, so I'm sure she's going to love me talking about this. But big win for FDU, knocking off Miss Fideli's Purdue Boilermakers.
That was really interesting to see. Had to say that. I was, during that game, was at the location of the Denver Regional with the Sun Devils taking on the Horned Frogs. You don't have to remind me of that. That was a late. That was a tremendous game.
That FDU game was the same location as Michigan State's regional.
Right.
So our student radio crew at Michigan State was out there that day. Our photographer, Sarah Smith, was taking photos for FDU. They didn't have a photographer there shooting for them. She got some pictures. That was really good stuff for her. And taking over for her at Michigan State is a guy that's done some pretty good job taking photos out here this summer, Jack Moreland. Shout out JMO, he's been outstanding for us on social media. The majority of the photos you're seeing coming out of Falmouth this season has been from Jack Moreland on this day 44, game 44 of the season. Just love giving shout outs to everybody out here because it has been a great summer with a great crew, and we're excited to keep it going into the playoffs.
It's a good lad. The FDU Knight will now tow it here in the top of the 6th. We'll see Sean Keys, pair of strikeouts for Keys at third base tonight. Misses a little bit low here to start. I wanted to get to the point real quick of that game was not taking place in Denver, okay? And they had it up on the Jumbotron for the upset alert, and the crowd was cheering when they showed the game, and then when they'd get back to the replays and stuff in-house, they would start booing. As you see a deep drive out here into left, up at the fence, and it's gone. Sean Keys, the opposite way. We talked about his big bat, and you can't limit it for a whole lot longer. He goes the opposite way for a solo shot, back-to-back innings with Cotuit on the board.
That's such a good swing. A fastball away, and it leaves his bat at 102. Crushed backside by Sean Keys. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played here, Matt.
That there is activity up in the bullpen for the Doors. Last time I say it, it was fun just hearing the crowd boo and cheer when they'd go back and forth to ultimately see the Boilermakers get upset. And as we continue, a base hit by Jeff Hurd into right field. And don't look now, but in the debut of Goodlad, you now have the tying run aboard after you just had 3. You got the tying run at the plate.
And Goodlad, out of FDU, he started his collegiate career at a different FDU campus. He was not with the Knights the first time that he got himself started. He was at Farley Dickinson Florham and then transferred to the main campus for the Knights.
He's got some work to do here for the Commodores, despite being with Martha's Vineyard we talked about not too long ago. 16 innings of work just off the Cape here. And now a line shot out into center. This one will be caught. Barry Walsh covering good ground there in center. Makes that play for out number 1.
You'll definitely take that.
Just a fastball at the end of the bat there, and able to come down with it as Walsh at Boston College. Again, one of those late ads for Falmouth. No Nate Humphreys today. You also have Michael Eze not playing today. Walker Yannick, some guys that you've seen in the lineup as of late, just getting a chance to take the time off. And hello. That one up and in to Sam Tackett.
Bit of a wake-up call. Also, we were talking earlier about the East, Matt. Chatham put up a 7-run third inning to take a 7-0 lead on Orleans. And YD's up on Wareham. Even after all that yesterday, the Red Sox could still get home field advantage in the East.
Matchup-wise, it doesn't change anything a whole lot in that first matchup. Both teams are still going to host in the first round. It would just be the top seed still getting it all the way throughout that championship, which the way it could be looking, the East might not host in the title game, depending on who is that matchup in the West. And right here, the Kettleers at the top of the West are doing their part in playing comeback here at the Gov. Another hit there by Cotuit. Sam Tackett takes a fastball 2-0 right back up the middle.
Also, how about the baseball being played by Chatham down the stretch? They're going to finish, if they hold on in that game, with the same record as Brewster. They're going to miss the playoffs based on the tiebreaker. But I believe that's, if they win today, that's either 5 of 6 or 6 of 7 over the last little bit for Chatham. They've been playing outstanding baseball, just too little too late.
Been an eventful season for the Chatham A's. But hoping everyone around Cape Cod, I mean, just you like the town of Chatham, such a draw here, and the baseball obviously well known beyond the Cape. For Chatham fans, hoping to get that baseball back to some of the days from not too long ago. Tough year overall, though, but again, way to finish off the right way. Trotter Harlan in there now. He goes the opposite way here down in the corner and right. Nice play by Shapiro to make that play, and I'm not too sure if Hurd knew that that one was going to be caught. He easily maybe could have tagged there, Zach, but gets caught up.
I think he was really focused on if that ball did drop in front of Shapiro, he wanted to score. And with his speed at second, and there being now 2 outs, he's probably going to score on a base hit anyways. So I don't mind it, but at the same time, now a wild pitch doesn't score him. So you would like to tag on a fly ball to right more often than not with less than 2 outs at second base.
So instead, the opportunity shifts to Trey Younger now. A pair of hitless at-bats for him to this point. Starts off with a foul ball straight back. These Kettleers will finish at the top of the West. Right now at 57 points, 28 wins, 14 losses, and 1 tie for Mike Roberts and his guys. Already 1 home for Cotuit here in this 6th. Ground ball here, just foul, where Sean Darnell is able to grab it. Good job by Goodlad to get ahead here, despite the hits and already 1 in here in this inning. The Kettleers, when these two teams saw each other the other day, that 27-2 win for Falmouth, Cotuit was number 1 in the Cape League in runs scored. Since then, just 5 games, a total of 16 runs for Cotuit, all the way down to 4th in the Cape League. Cotuit has come back down to earth just a little bit. You kind of want to be going in the other direction heading into the postseason. Double steal on. It gets away. And stealing third and now on his way home. The play at the plate, there won't be one. Stolen bases awarded, and then that wild pitch that you mentioned, Zach, you will score on it if you get him in motion. And Jeffrey Hurd just took 2 bases to score a run.
You don't see that often. And now another wild pitch ties this game.
Fantastic heads-up base running, but now the Doors really need to find a way for that last strike right here. The 1-2 on the ground. Darnell, nice play on a short hop. The throw across in time. 2 Kettleers come across, but that's it because of the work from Sean Darnell and the Falmouth defense. The Doors still on top by 1. We'll see you on the other side of the break with the Falmouth Bats when we return.
We're gonna have to cut out like 85% of this, so my bad. Tab Tracy!
Guy, you deserve it. I just think I deserve it like next week.
For sure. Hey, Tab Tracy on the mic next week.
That tomorrow.
Bro, you put every ounce of your body into that one. You hit it. You hit it. I literally went like this. Gots. Is that Turley?
Yeah.
He has juice.
Yeah, he's got stupid juice.
So who's balling?
Man, Travis Bazzana.
Travis. Anybody else?
Baller.
Joey.
Joey Baller. Man, all of our all-stars, man.
Facts. I want to shout out my mom, my dad, Christy Taylor, Jeremy Taylor, Bethany Rose Taylor, my granny, and that whole side of the family. I done made it on TV. Look at me.
The righty in Mason Murdoch will toe the rubber out of UNC Wilmington. He was the other pitcher that got hit around a lot in that matchup with Cotuit just a few days back.
Yeah, he came in to follow Will Jacobson, and he's trying to do what Will Jacobson did today, and that's bounce back. Mason Murdoch in that game, 1 1/3 for him. 6 hits, 7 earned runs. Was really bit by the walks, 5 of them.
The Doors took advantage in that game. 27 runs on 26 hits. Still left 12 out of all that, but not a bad day overall from Cotuit because 2 runs on 10 hits, and they left 10.
And Trey Younger has just left this game.
That he has. I'm not too sure what happened.
They don't have a replacement for him yet.
Mike Roberts is having a word along his dugout. See if we can get a shot of it here. But now the replacement is going out there for the Kettleers. And Brock Wills is going to take over. But I think I missed what happened there. I'm not too sure if there was an injury or just a replacement being taken out.
Yeah. Don't want to speculate too much on it, but it's not fun.
No, it's not. Nonetheless, the Doors going to have 7, 8, 9 due up here against Murdoch. Luke Heyman works in there now, the catcher out of Florida. 0 for 1 officially today. Had a walk in his first go-around. It's a good leave off the plate here, showing off that slide piece to begin the outing for Murdoch. Now nowhere near on that one there, Zach. And obviously giving Walker Yannick a rest, but we've seen the Doors kind of tag team the two of them. One is a DH, one is a catcher.
Yeah, it's first day off for Yannick in a while.
That it is. The backstop out of Sam Houston State has been that guy for Falmouth.
He was so good last night behind the plate. Caught 3 different Mariners stealing.
In there for a strike. Murdoch trying to work back from behind in the count. He's going to lose the first man he sees. Heyman on to first.
Falmouth will take it. They need some insurance. Man, is this quick mound visit.
Mike Roberts will go down to have a word with Mason Murdoch. I'm just not too sure. Again, we're not going to speculate, but don't really know if the defensive replacement has anything to do with this here, but Murdoch not entirely locating there.
And honestly, I said it was a quick mound visit, but I don't necessarily hate it, especially for a guy like Murdoch who struggled with the walks the last time he was out, because that outing against Falmouth was his last outing. So, I don't hate it. Just go out there, talk to him, and calm him down.
And for what it's worth, too, I mean, 7, 8, 9, you don't want to probably see in this same inning 1, 2, 3, because that would mean the bases could probably be occupied in the case of Falmouth. And Murdoch, that's something he certainly struggled with in that last outing, as we talked about. You mentioned the walks, gave up a lot of hits, got tagged in that effort that Falmouth, again, just ran away with it.
You could see Bazana in this inning, too, which would be a big at-bat for him, because Derek Bender and Bryce Eblin have both been taken out of the game in Bourne. So, Bazana, at the moment, would have the batting title, but he's probably going to come up. He's not going to be taken out of this game, more than likely.
We'll see. Sets the table for some excitement down the stretch. After that lengthy mound visit, Mason Murdoch finds the heater in there for a strike. Against Sean Darnell here. When he locates, it's a good pitch. 92 on that fastball. Low to mid-90s from the righty from UNC Wilmington. Tries to double up on it. Misses this one down in the zone. Luke Heyman, you see him there, walking lead. Brian Tomasini, the Doors' first base coach, holding on to his Evo Shield elbow guard there. Another heater here runs inside. But the last game of the regular season, as we talked about, closing out with a West Division battle against a rival for the Falmouth Commodores here in the Cotuit Kettleers. The Doors have won 6 straight in the West Division, a part of that turnaround, Zach, and 10 of the last 15. Something that certainly was not the case, and so much so that a win tonight, Falmouth would finish above 500 against the division, and for the longest time we had said they struggled against this division. You see a chopper here on the ground. Acker, the flip over to Harlan, and in time, Taylor made 6-4-3, erased the base paths, now 2 away.
It's a big second out. Mason Murdoch settling himself in.
That helps when you get a twin kill after struggling to locate just a little bit. But the fact that Falmouth might stand a chance to be able to finish the regular season in its division above 500, after the longest time we were saying the Doors had dominated against the East Division. The Doors, after that loss yesterday, still a very respectable 12-7-1 record against the East. I mean, that stands up there as one of the best records out of conference. And it's no secret that the West is a lot stronger than the East, but still to do that interconference matchups and then to now have this 6-game winning streak against your own foes along this side of the Cape, really impressive in this turnaround for the Doors.
It has been. There's not much else you can say.
Murdoch, meanwhile, as we keep talking, 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning. It won't be this one, though. Leaves that changeup, or rather the curveball, up and away. Good day from Cade Clemens so far. A couple of hits that have not been hit very hard, but yet have all looked the same on our score sheet here. The 2-2. Got him here. Pulled the string. And Mason Murdoch, with the help of a double play, and that swinging strikeout puts up a 0 after the Falmouth 3-run 5th. Still a 1-run lead here at the Gov as we make our way to the last third of this ball game here, with the Doors on top by 1.
Priscilla Peruzzi and been a host family for the 2nd year. We found that every single player, even those that weren't staying with us, were polite, respectful, and really appreciated what you were doing for them.
After a while, they were bringing home players, and they were always hanging out down in the man cave.
Almost every day is another memory that you make. We even have friends of ours that will text us and let us know, did you see what happened? We've gotten a lot of other people supporting them as well.
Back inside the broadcasting booth here, Matt Venezia alongside Zach Serdenik. Game 44. We don't really know the road ahead entirely in terms of, we know obviously it's Hyannis this upcoming weekend. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the way it stands right now, just one more home game after this for sure. The Doors are trying to get it done here and take it here and continue that run against the West Division ahead of the West Division playoffs.
Yeah, you got to see what you can do, but you love to be hot. Momentum is big. It really is.
9 of the last 12 have gone the way of Falmouth. A run of 20 wins, 8 losses since June the 28th. And just an absolute turnaround from a team that had lived in the bottom of this division for really the first third of this Cape League season, Zach. And now has cemented itself for sure in the third spot in the division. That does not award home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. However, should the Bourne Braves in the 4 upset these Cotuit Kettleers and Falmouth were to advance it well, you would have the second round be hosted here at the Gov.
And you'll definitely take that because Falmouth's played really well here as of late, but unlike some of the other teams in the Cape League, the Doors have played well on the road too. It hasn't been such a big split. Like Hyannis, they really have struggled on the road, but played really well at home. We're going to have to see what that happens.
Not a very good swing, but off the end of the bat, Clemens, right side of second base, and stays with it. 1 away.
Good start to the inning from Grant Goodlad, just finding himself moving long. You've got Parker Coyle warming to potentially go the 8th and the 9th. You're feeling good about where you're at if you can get through this inning if you're Grant Goodlad in Falmouth.
We haven't seen Parker Coyle in a little bit. Last outing was that walk-off against Wareham. 9-8 victory back on the 29th. So, a couple of days ago. But he's certainly been that middle relief guy for Falmouth. If nothing else, could maybe see him go the last 2 innings here. And again, that could set up another situation, Zach, of not seeing Joey Ryan throw, which maybe not the way you drew it up, but for him to have not pitched since the All-Star break to conclude the regular season, I think you'd like to see your closer get more reps before the games really start to count as soon as Friday night.
You'd love to, and there's a possibility of that. The reason I said 8th and 9th for Coyle is because he's been that multi-inning guy, but he could just go the 8th, and you could still see Joey Ryan go the 9th.
The 2-0. Heyman was setting up on the outer third. That one took him back inside to the toes of Ty Acker, who's ahead of it 3 balls and no strikes. Worked a walk last time in a full count spot. Strikeout looking in the 3rd inning as well. It's a 4-pitch walk. Another base runner in consecutive innings here being worked by Cotuit, which previous to the 5th inning really had not had much going on by the way of what we saw from Scout Updike and then recently from Cassius Thomas.
Cassius Thomas was really good. Scout Updike was phenomenal. And we'll see how long Goodlad gets to go.
Mike Landry, the pitching coach, making the walk out there now. Scott Samanchik, our videographer down there, third base line, getting this shot here. Nice job, and looks like the move has been made. So Parker Coyle will come in now. Grant Goodlad's day is over. Got to see a little bit from that FDU arm. But now the Razorback will come in here to try to get the Doors out of this little bit of a spot in this 7th inning. The Razorback, Parker Coyle. First time we've seen him since that game against the Gatemen a couple of nights back, but he has been that guy for stretch time innings, and no different here as he comes into this 7th inning with 1 out. A base runner to contend with Ty Acker. Coyle offers the fastball in his first go around here. Big cut and a miss. It's a pinch hitter here at the top of the order for the Kettleers. We just showed you the graphic of who's in there now. It's got Seeker coming in as a late replacement here. In a 2-ball, 1-strike count. As it appears Cole Mathis's day has come to an end. Just a straight switch in that designated hitter spot.
And you're seeing that a lot around the league right now with some of the best players in the league.
Acker going, the throw just a bit behind. Not a bad tag from Clemens. That's going to be a stolen bag.
Cotuit trying to find their way.
We know this rivalry runs pretty deep over the years. Mike Roberts and Jeff Trundy, 2 of the longest tenured managers in the Cape League.
2 of the winningest coaches in the Cape League. Jeff Trundy, with that win over Hyannis, moved into 3rd all time, passing his predecessor, Harvey Shapiro.
That's right. Trundy being honored today earlier for his 500th career win earlier this season, during the regular season that is. But nice little ceremony with Chuck Sturdivant and Bob Curtis. This one off the plate. Seeker off the bench, works a walk. And now there's 2 on with Sean Keys. And he had that big swing last time up. Could have been why Coyle comes in here to see that left on left for sure, with Keys possibly coming up with base runners aboard.
And it's a big at-bat. But not just Keys. You've got 3 straight lefties now to face Coyle. You're not too worried in this situation with him on the mound.
Goes to the breaking ball, first offering, and it's low and away. Left down there by Sean Keys. 2 strikeouts and that big home run to his line today. Empty on the fastball. This Cotuit team, even with itself coming back down to earth a little bit, still first in 5 different offensive metrics, including runs driven in, home runs, now 43.
Their offense can hit. I think a lot of the pitching numbers also have been skewed by when the Kettleers lose, they've lost big. And that's where they've gotten hurt a little bit.
Falmouth no stranger to dealing that. It's not even just the 27-2 game we're alluding to. You remember, outside of the 3-2 win for Cotuit on July the 5th, all the other games between these sides have been massive victories. That's a massive win there on the hill. Parker Coyle elevates the fastball for a swinging strikeout of Sean Keys.
That was a good swing, or a good pitch that got a bad swing. Fastball up. He took a healthy hack at it. There's nothing he could do.
Parker Coyle right now 92 on that fastball. Some of the harder throwing fastballs we've seen from him tonight all season long.
He's been jumping. He's good. And you loved what you've seen from him all summer long.
Now it's Jeffrey Hurd, tonight's right fielder for Mike Roberts. Came around to score on a double steal and a wild pitch. That same sequence allowed him to go second to home. Ultimately, one more run would come in after that. That's where we stand now.
That's a pitcher's pitch right there from Parker Coyle. Dotting that fastball on the outside part of the plate. You're not doing much with that from the left-handed batter's box if you're Hurd.
Big cut and a miss. Locates the fastball bottom part of the zone. Coyle losing the cap just a little bit.
Yeah, getting to see the locks from Parker Coyle. I haven't seen that yet this year from him.
Trying to get out of this spot here with the lead still intact. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch from Coyle, double steal on, it doesn't matter. Wave and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts from Parker Coyle. Shows us the fastball for one of them, and that gross curveball down in the dirt. Time to stretch. Falmouth on top by 1.
Want to display some Falmouth pride? Show your support for the Commodores by picking up a rally rag at the intern tent. Rally rags are $2 each or 3 for $5, and you can wave them all summer long while you cheer on the team. Wear your rags to home games or raise them high to help us close the door on our opponents. Just make sure to get yours today. Supplies are selling fast.
We mentioned a little bit earlier who we know is ahead. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks as soon as Friday. Here's who we think we'll see. No doubt you'd probably see the ace, Braden Davis. He was slotted to throw today, but you give him that extra day with the off day, the ace is going to be ready to go game 1.
Yeah, this isn't confirmed starters, but this is where they would be if they line up in the rotation. This is the 3 you've got, and you love what you see there. When you've got Davis Barnett going games 1 and game 2, with that type of talent on the mound, you may not have a game 3, but a really good offense in Hyannis. It's going to be power on power. It's going to be the best 2 teams in the Cape League over the last month. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Matt, Walker Yannick's up in the on-deck circle. That means Travis Bazzana's going to come out.
He's going to come out, not for injury-related purposes. We've been keeping track on the batting title race, and Zach, you've really been the one tracking it this whole time. It appears Bazzana exiting this game is going to be the guy.
Yeah, it would take a Herculean effort. Joe Oyama would need 5 hits in the final 3 innings of that ball game, and he's the only one with any chance of catching him. Bazzana wanted it, and it looks like he's going to get it.
Also, with Bazzana going 1 for 3, you look at the other important factor of that, and Derek Bender going 0 for and then being pulled by Bourne, as well as Zach Eblin as well, being taken out of the game as well earlier on today. The 2-0 in there for a strike. But Travis Bazzana, he told us he might have needed 3 hits tonight to do it. It appears that might not be needed. Just 1.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting the struggles from everybody towards the top. You've got, out of those top 4 guys, none of them have really hit well. Bryce Eblin had 1 hit, but he was so far behind that his 1 for 3 day isn't going to beat Bazzana's 1 for 3 day.
Caden Shapiro thought he had ball 4 there on that fastball up and in. Trackman liked it. In there in that top right corner, up and in. A jam shot here. Keys with room, and he'll make the play. Running in foul ground, a tough play for out number 1. So here is the Bearcat taking over. Now Yannick, we've seen him play third base. He's caught. I would expect we would see a lot of shifting. Maybe could see Cade Clemens move on. We'll have to see what they want to do.
Also got the shot of Sean Darnell potentially moving over. We've seen him play a little bit of second today. That would be my guess. But there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Try and get guys reps at different positions before we head into the playoffs where it really is going to matter.
So Yannick not getting the start today. Had a home run yesterday at White House Field in the 4-3 loss for Falmouth. Cut here's going to maybe thump off the press box. No, just carried a little bit further behind us. Makes it 1-1. Again, this game means nothing, really, other than just getting reps and seeing different guys potentially in different places, especially a lot of the new guys. It's been productive for Falmouth. But an off day, Cape League-wide tomorrow. And outside of the Gateman and the Chatham A's, everyone else will play baseball as soon as Friday to begin the playoffs. The Kettleers will be home against the Bourne Braves, and Falmouth will head to McKeon Park. Down the right field line, and another one of those bloopers. A jam shot for Yannick. Called off the bench. She's got a hit here with one away.
Wow. I mean, there's not much else you can say. Another hit down that side, and Falmouth's making a living off of that one spot on the field.
The 2 spot today, including Travis Bazzana, collecting 2 hits today. Not bad. Now with Bazzana out of the game. But that presents Tyler McGregor. He, too, a jam shot down that right field line in his last go-around. Big first baseman out of Northeastern has turned things around for him here. Has been consistent in the 3 spot and the 4 spot, really, for Falmouth. Has worked himself into a nice stretch here to close out the season. Hits in 5 consecutive. After going as many as 5 consecutive without a hit. Good to see him swinging that bat at the right time. Mason Murdoch here. Another inning of work for the righty. McGregor, a blooper. That one's not going to get down. Acker backpedaling into the short grass to put it away. So you've got 2 out now. Yannick right there still at first base with that hit he had in the previous batter of this inning, being held on by Tobias. And Caleb Hall, tonight's cleanup hitter, playing first base today. McGregor getting a day to just hit, working in that DH spot.
I'm sure he'll take it.
With Cade Snell, really the other true first baseman here. It was really Snell DHing the whole time. McGregor was playing first base close to every day. We saw a stint or 2 of Luke Heyman playing first base, but it's primarily been the Northeastern Husky towing it over there for Falmouth at first.
I like what I've seen from Caleb Hall at first base tonight, though. Hasn't had to do too much, but he's looked comfortable there.
And if nothing else, just again provides you a chance. I mean, again, playing baseball every single day, it's tough to expect perfect out of guys that typically don't play every day.
And that's how the playoffs is going to be. It's 9 straight days. The only day off you get in the playoffs is if you win the first 2 games of the series, if you're trying to go all the way.
That's exactly right. And that fun begins on August 4th. How are you spending your off day tomorrow, Zach? We had a 6-6 stretch here to close out the year, but we finally had an off day here.
I think I might catch that double feature, the Oppenheimer-Barbie double feature.
Okay.
We've been talking about it with a few of us out here.
Yeah. Gotten a miss from Caleb Hall.
I'm sure you're going to find your way on a golf course somewhere.
That's what I'm trying to do. It'd be nice. Because think about it, again, not really knowing the rest of the way. You'd like to have more off days built in by staying here with the playoff baseball, but really the only guaranteed is tomorrow, as it was a Yannick going on the 3-2, and it's fouled away.
Really quick hands there from Caleb Hall. That's a fastball up and away, and his hand shot to that to get a piece of it and stay alive after not being sure right away whether he was going to swing at it.
Nice look here at Yannick extending his lead. 10 stolen bags at Sam Houston State this year. Won't be credited with one here, as it's a ball 4 up and away. A little 2-out magic being worked for the Beaver. And Gavin Turley coming up next. Turley today, to this point, had to hit his first go-around, a strikeout, and a walk in a full count his last at-bat, 1 for 2 respectfully. There's Walker Yannick. First pitch, fastball upstairs. Can't keep talking enough about the turnaround we've seen from Gavin Turley. One of the very best prospects coming up in college baseball. Slider goes away here. We'll have a mound visit here. More on Turley. We expect Travis Bazzana will be a consensus, maybe 1-1 kind of guy. But Turley could maybe do the same right after him.
He's got a shot, and he's another guy. Both these Beavers have really interesting stories. I talked to both of them for Behind Closed Doors. You can check those out on YouTube. But Gavin Turley had an interesting one. He does all sorts of stuff. He can solve a Rubik's Cube. Somebody brought out a Rubik's Cube to him to see if he could solve it. It was really funny. I was talking with him about it. Kid brought him a Rubik's Cube to solve it. He said he was a little surprised. He hadn't done one in a few years. But there was an article written in the Oregonian about it, and it was a really cool article talking about his background and doing those Rubik's Cubes, teaching himself how to do it. But also, he flies planes, and in that article, it talked about him flying. His brother was playing at Arizona, and so he'd take his plane and just fly to watch his brother's games. He mentioned to me flying one time to a scouting workout in California, and on his way back, he mentioned the highlight of it was stopping at a steakhouse, getting a really good steak, and then flying back home after that. But that's got to be really cool. You pull up to the workout flying yourself.
I respect that decision to stop for a steak.
Fair enough, man. Me too.
Foul ball here from Turley. Has it 2-2. Falmouth working that hit from Yannick and a walk from Caleb Hall, trying to provide some insurance here down the stretch. Just saw Parker Coyle throw for the Doors. There is a Commodore out there in the bullpen right now. But Coyle, we could maybe see him go in the 8th. Stephen Quigley could maybe go right after that, you'd have to imagine. 3-2, the runners will be on the move. And it's off the plate again. Back-to-back two-out walks have loaded the bases with Commodores for Barry Walsh.
Walsh has done pretty well in these types of situations. He's going to have a shot to do some damage. This is the third game in a matter of 5 days that he's come up with the bases loaded.
That it is. You remember the Gateman game, he had the walk-off two-run single. Then yesterday, to tie the game in the 8th at White House Field, had himself a two-run single. Again, all that being worked with 2 outs, Zach. It's just something about these Doors and using every strike, every out, every pitch as an opportunity. That's one way to do it.
And if history repeats itself, heads up in that gap in right center. That's where he's found himself depositing baseballs each of those 2 times.
Walsh today 1 for 3 on the outing. Takes one right down the middle. Strike number 2. That was middle all day. But today, Walsh in center field for the Doors, sees the 0-2. Chops one, back up the middle. A great play at short, the flip, not in time. An infield single brings in one more Commodore, and Barry Walsh comes through once again with 2 away.
It's a good play by Ty Acker, but good hustle from Gavin Turley to beat it out. Keep the inning alive. See if Falmouth can break this open with a hit here.
Ty Acker keeps it to just 1 run right there by keeping that in on the infield. And now the Florida Gator, Luke Heyman, gets his chance to break it open, perhaps. Leaves one upstairs for ball number 1.
It's another bat you'd love to get going for the playoffs. Hasn't had too many chances to swing it today. A couple of walks for him, but if he can get going, he can be an X factor down the stretch, along with Yannick. Both catchers can really swing it, and they're both pretty good behind the dish.
The 1-1 getting ready on the way to Heyman off the plate. Since that breakout game against the Whitecaps on the road at Stony Brook Field, was 3 for 5, 4 runs driven in, and a home run. He's collected 2 runs driven in over the last 4. The multi-hit effort against the Kettleers on the 28th, and outside of that, he's given you offense in spurts, and this could be that chance here. He was credited with an RBI on the walk-off walk for Falmouth the other day, taking down Hyannis in a crazy comeback for the Doors, working all the base runners with 2 out in that ball game.
Such a primer for this weekend series. It's going to be so much fun.
Big spot here, though, for the Doors, trying to still close out the regular season here in game 44. But another one off the plate from Murdoch has struggled. He gets ahead, but then kind of struggles to locate there off the edge. It's been that fastball up and away that he has not really seemed to find a pitch for. Runners will be on the move with a 3-2 pitch on the way, and it grazed Heyman. And that one, I think, stung him. Nonetheless, a run will come in. He'll take his walk and a slow trot to first, and one more Commodore comes in. Heyman had to earn that RBI physically there, and another run comes in.
Yeah, that hurts, especially in a 3-2 situation. You're like, come on, man, I was headed down anyways, but he's got to feel it a little more this time.
So with 2 outs, the Commodores finding 2 more runs. And now Mike Roberts will make a move to the bullpen. The bases are still loaded, and already 2 home for Falmouth, trying to add on more when we return. Ben Covell, the new pitcher to take over out of Fordham, but he's getting ready to go on to Pitt to be a Panther, but he's got some tasks to do here before making his way over to the ACC.
And you come in one of the toughest spots you can enter in out of the bullpen, bases loaded.
That you could, and it starts off with another ball. Sean Darnell in there from that left side. 0 for today. A couple of balls that haven't left the infield from Darnell. But again, just falling behind here are the Kettleer pitchers. Something you don't see from them too often. Base is fully occupied here by Falmouth in the 7th. Darnell just a tad tardy on that pitch. Fastball low and away at 89 for that first strike. But again, numbers at Fordham. All-conference tournament team selection. Overall, regular season second team honoree. Trying to tightrope out of this one. And it hasn't started the way he needs it to. 3-1.
And nowhere to put him.
You already have always want more runs, especially against Cotuit, but could have that big green light here in a 3-1 spot. Trying to find a way to bring in a handful here. The 3-1 pitch is the green light, and it's given a ride out into right. It needs a little bit more, though, as Jeff Hurd had to backpedal rather quickly there before camping under it in right field. The Doors strand 3, but bring in 2 after 7. It's all Falmouth here. We know the score here. We'll let you know the ones around the Cape with Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. A few scores around the Cape. The Harwich Mariners lead the Brewster Whitecaps 3-2. The Bourne Braves are ahead of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 6-3 in the top of the 8th. The Whitey Red Sox are ahead of the Wareham Gatemen 8-2 in the top of the 7th. And the Chatham Anglers lead the Orleans Firebirds 7-3 in the top of the 6th. We'll catch you on the other side of the break. You're watching Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Jacob Tobias, the Sun Devil, leads it off left on left against Parker Coyle, who came in there, got out of the jam. We mentioned that Yannick pinched hit for Travis Bazana, who, barring a miracle out in Orleans with Joe Ayama, should end the night as the batting title champion of the Cape Cod Baseball League. In response to that move, you got Walker Yannick to third. We've seen him there a couple of times earlier this season. Sean Darnell moves from third to second to replace Travis Bazana. And the rest all looks the same as we begin this top of the 8th. Coyle behind here early to Tobias, but able to find the zone there, locating that fastball. Parker Coyle, once postseason time comes around, you'd have to imagine, Zach, could really be that first option for Falmouth out of the pen after you get some innings from those projected starters. Tobias works his way down on that hit by pitch. So we should probably expect to see Quigley at some point here, maybe when the next righty comes in, and I think that's what Mike Landry might be doing now, because you want to keep him ready, you get the off day as well, but Coyle could maybe be used.
And Coyle's looking at him, he's like, oh, you can stay. And then Landry thought about it, and then decided he was going to come out anyways.
And I think a lot of that has to do with needing him maybe at McKeon Park on Friday night. Parker Coyle has been so good for Falmouth. And right now, no move being made officially yet, but it could just be a feeling out conversation here.
And I'm sure that the weekend is coming up in that conversation at some point. Just on, if I need you, are you going to be able to get me through this quick enough that I can use you? Because you don't want him throwing too many pitches and then trying to bounce back. But right now, he's only thrown 18 pitches. He can find his way back. There is the off day tomorrow, so it's not like he's going to be pitching back-to-back days.
It's especially for bullpen arms, it's just interesting because some guys do routines different ways, and when you're having to pitch at sometimes consecutive days over the course of several instances of innings over the course of a ball game, some guys do their routine and what they go about each ball game. It's a real conversation of Landry saying, hey, will you be able to go when we need you on Friday or even perhaps Saturday? The 0-1. That's a really good pitch here, and Trackman liked it. That check swing effort for Sam Tackett will hold true because he gets rewarded a ball there and Haven't had too many questionable calls tonight, but with the lead right now, it doesn't appear to matter a whole lot. Now he finds the zone here, makes it 1-2. And Zach, for what it's worth, Falmouth trying to even the season set with the Kettleers. Went 1-2 on the road this season at Lowell Park. 1-1 here at the Gov. That time able to drop the fastball inside third. That one looked a little bit better than the previous. And I think maybe Sam Tackett saying, hey, the 1-2 pitches ago was even more inside, and that was a ball. Nonetheless, Coyle gets it the same way for the strikeout.
You like it from Coyle. Able to get this last batter.
Now Mike Landry will come out and make the move. Maybe Coyle just said, I wanted that guy one more time. Stephen Quigley takes the mound when we return here at the Gov. Stephen Quigley out of UConn will take the mound now for the Doors. Needing 5 outs, should expect that he be the guy to do it. The rest of the way to close out game number 44 here at the Gov.
Chance to pick up the save and get out of here. Into the playoffs. You'll definitely take finishing off with a win. He's found himself with a decision so far in all of his appearances for Falmouth. He's got a 2-1 record, and you'll take that to go along with what we've seen from him overall. That's been pretty good stuff.
Has settled into a groove after that 3 1/3 used in the Wareham walk-off win. Gave up a run on just 1 hit. 1 walk and 4 strikeouts for Quigley, typically used in that starting rotation out there at UConn, along with Garrett Coe out in that bullpen of the Huskies. And a good start here, offers a breaking ball over the middle for strike number 2. Trotter Harlan in there now. 0 for 3 today is the second baseman for the Kettleers tonight. There's that breaking ball again. Good piece from Quigley to locate it there. First team all Big East this year. Led UConn in innings pitched as well as strikeouts. Knows a thing or two about working distance and getting the pitcher-friendly strikeout in his time up there in the Big East. Has a chance to pick one up here. And he does. Got him looking. Trotter Harlan goes back with another strikeout. That's 2 for him today, and Stephen Quigley starts his outing right with a backwards K.
It's exactly the way you're looking to do it. Quigley coming in. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go the 9th inning, just because of the fact that you really want to save as many of these bullpen arms as possible. That's why you're throwing them for so short. If he just gets 2 outs here, and then you give way to another arm for the 9th, theoretically all those guys would be available for you if you need them on Friday.
Right now, Charlie Kuhn is stretching for the Doors. We saw him in the victory against Hyannis the last time we were here.
He looked really good in that outing, too. 1-2-3 inning.
That he did. Picked up a strikeout in that run. But he could maybe go. But again, in theory, it is a save situation, too, so you could go to Joey Ryan as well. But we have not seen in quite some time, Zach. The 0-1. Cut and miss, and Stephen Quigley now. Back-to-back spots, 0-2. Converted on the first one rather quickly. Chance to repeat history right here. This is Brock Wills in there again. Came in as a defensive replacement in the bottom of the 6th inning. But this is his first time in the box. He gets one off the end of the bat and will be rewarded an infield hit. Another one of those pieces, Zach, across both sides, really. The pitchers execute, and it just gets rewarded as a base hit.
Yeah, we've seen outs at over 100 miles an hour off the bat this season. That's a base hit that left the bat at 49 miles an hour. It's just baseball.
Well, don't look now, but Jack Scanlon already one long ball today, stands in as the game-tying run. Although you like what you've seen from Quigley, he's come in and thrown 6 pitches, 6 strikes. But that Cotuit Kettleer tying run stands in there. Yet Jacob Tobias hit by pitch to lead off the inning. He stands at second now. And that base hit from Wills has him the trail runner standing at first. 2 long balls today by the Cape League's leading home run hitting offense. Up to 44 now are the Kettleers. Falmouth in that category, not too far behind. Standing in 3rd. Big home run swing there. Makes it a ball and 1 strike. Still a good crowd gathered here at the Gov to take in this last regular season game on the summer. Quigley's slider didn't slide enough. Stays outside. Mentioned the home run from Scanlon earlier today. Ground ball out last time to Cade Clemens at short. And they're going to call a pitch clock violation on Quigley. And that changes things pretty drastically now. It's a hitter-friendly count. Gotta wonder what it's like for these pitchers to kind of be in that new era of how the game's moving, Zach, of getting ready mentally to lock in for a 2-1 pitch, and now it just changes and you got to be ready to execute a different count.
And there's nothing here that they can see.
Scanlon gives it a ride into the gap in right, but cutting it off, a nice play by Shapiro to track it down. Look good off the bat. But Falmouth right fielder makes a play to strand the bases. 2 are left for Cotuit after that hit by pitch and a base hit. It's still Falmouth by 3 as we go to the bottom half of the 8th.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats, the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear.
Well, it's time to talk about what's after this game here with just an inning and change to go. Round 1 of the postseason. We know it's Hyannis. We will be at McKeon Park on Friday night for postseason baseball, back here at the Gov on Saturday. And then, if both teams take a game aside, we go back to McKeon Park for baseball Sunday night.
Falmouth open for an off day Sunday, but they'd rather take a game Sunday than an off day because of a couple losses. So gives them a shot to get through. It should be a really fun series. I could see either side winning this in 2 or 3 games because both teams have been playing so well.
It all comes down Friday. We'll be on the radio waves for you at McKeon Park. You can catch the video feed as well on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks YouTube page, but we hope you hang out with us to hear it. Could do what some folks do and line up us to the, to the TV feed.
We'll be here all the same, however you want to listen.
Exactly right. But 3-run lead of Insurance for Falmouth, who, the way it's looking, would clinch win number 24 on the summer, barring an effort in the 9th by the Kettleers. But the Doors trying to work themselves to 50 points on the summer, which, Zach, obviously through the first 15 games you had just 8 points. And over the last 29 you collect 42 of them if you find 3 more outs in that 9th inning. It's been a complete turnaround for Falmouth. Can't stress it enough. But to not only, I was expecting the Doors to somehow limp into the playoffs, given the start. But it has been anything but that. The fact that Falmouth had a playoff spot locked up, 3 games ago, is pretty incredible. That the Doors have given themselves a chance now to see what they have in some of these other position players that have come in here, as well as some of those bullpen arms in Game 44. One of those late guys here in Cade Clemens comes up empty on that cut for the first out.
It's been a sprint rather than a limp. The Doors got hot and they stayed hot. They finished today. That'll be 10 of 13 to close the regular season after a different stretch earlier where they won 11 of 14.
Exactly right. The Doors trying to find a chance to be over 500 against the West Division. That would end a run of, now with a victory tonight, would be 7 straight against the division. Another one of those crazy runs that this team has just found a way to get on and has stayed on. No doubt about that. You'd like to continue to see that into the postseason, Zach, with those divisional matchups, obviously. And the way things are looking right now, the Chatham A's exploding on the Orleans Firebirds on top 12-3 right now. And YD's going to win today. And despite Orleans winning head-to-head yesterday, they're going to flip-flop again. And the YD Red Sox are going to clinch that top spot, by the way it looks, barring a miracle.
And it does mean that Falmouth, if they make the title game, will have home field advantage in that game no matter the opponent because they'll have more points than any team in the East. If they can finish this game.
The 1-2. Sent the other way out into left. Tackett just on the other side. The left field foul line makes the play for out number 2. But that is important to note because home field advantage certainly means a lot, given that obviously the drives here for away games are within an hour or so. But it is worth noting, and the only chance Falmouth outside of that having a chance to host in the championship, obviously, in the second round, it would have to be a matchup against the Bourne Braves for Falmouth to host in round 2. Because Falmouth being the 3 seed, obviously, if the 4 seed were to upset Cotuit, in this case, 3 would be better than 4. A lot of different ways it could go. And we'll start to get the answer to those questions as soon as Friday. Yannick, big cut here, coming up empty.
That game, I think the West playoffs is really intriguing. I'm really excited to see how both of those series go because Bourne's a good team, and they're the defending champs, and they're playing good ball down the stretch.
Look at that base hit. Nothing you can do there at third for Sean Keys. That hopper over his head. Didn't even give it a leaping try. And Walker Yannick, since coming in as a defensive replacement, boosting his batting average at the end of the season here. He's 2 for 2.
Yeah, what a hit. 91 straight into the ground, and thing jumped like it was on a trampoline.
Partner, we've said it a couple of times, but obviously Scott Landers and his group there with the Bourne Braves, in terms of experience being the defending champs. The lone loss in their run to it last year was against Falmouth.
And that was in the first round. That was a good series. And then the Braves really took off. They were playing well down the stretch. They came back and ended up taking the top spot in the division at the last minute from Cotuit. And then things worked out the way they did. Bourne was able to ride that wave all the way to a title. Falmouth, the hottest team this year, trying to do the same.
That's a really good jump by Walker Yannick. The Bearcat able to swipe another bag. And now you've got a base runner in scoring position for a chance to add one more run of insurance.
You definitely take that insurance run.
Tyler McGregor 1 for 3 today. Has reached twice for Falmouth. Before long, Covell here wants to step off here. 6 runs on 10 hits for the Doors. Much cleaner effort defensively by Falmouth tonight. It's off the plate. We've seen the error bug kind of work around the Falmouth defense to close out the campaign here. 9 mistakes in the field over the last 4 games for Falmouth. Something we really hadn't seen until really just the beginning part of the season. There were a lot of mistakes early.
Clean baseball both sides tonight.
That it has been. Falmouth unfortunately leading the Cape League in fielding errors to this point in the summer. But a new season begins on Friday.
Exactly. Everything resets.
Deuce is wild here in the bottom of the 8th. Yannick off the end of the bat drives one down, and it'll get down into the left field corner. Tyler McGregor works himself an RBI double. Yannick in to score. And that brings in another.
It's another swing that wasn't completely barreled. He just stuck out the bat and flipped it down the line. Had a ton of space. Tackett was playing in against McGregor, and he just flew it by him.
Between 2 different men, the 2 spot in the order has been very effective for Falmouth today. 3 for 5 with 3 runs scored. A stolen base to boat as well.
It normally doesn't take 2 different men for that kind of production in the order for Falmouth. Bazzani usually doing it himself, but today getting a little help and getting half a game off here to relax.
That is right. But that's Tyler McGregor with that RBI knock down the left field corner. Taking the ball the other way. Real good swing from McGregor. The Commodores now, after the Kettleers made things close. It was 4-3 after the 3-run inning from Falmouth in the 5th. Cotuit put up a 2-run 6th inning. And then the Doors, since then, have responded with a lot of offense from themselves here. Screaming foul ball there. Caleb Hall here behind. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Right down Broadway. Slowed it down on him. Caleb Hall, strikeout victim for the 3rd time tonight, but not before Tyler McGregor brings in another one. Tonight's DH comes through. Still the Doors with 3 outs to get before closing out win number 24 to close out game 44 on the summer season. Falmouth going to an arm here. In Charlie Kuhn, really good debut the other night. Looking for similar strides here to close out win number 24 on the summer.
Just trying to finish it off and get us to the playoffs, Matt.
That we are. The Falmouth Commodores, we already told you the opponent. We've been anticipating it for quite some time now. I'm certainly eager to make our way over to McKeon Park. I think a couple of broadcasts ago, Zach was saying something about if it's Hyannis, that means we get another trip to Chick-fil-A out there.
You would. And you will. I'm sure you will make your trip to Chick-fil-A.
Why
We were
not?
there yesterday, actually.
Oh, yeah?
After the Harwich game.
You got a Chipotle and a Jersey Mike's as well. So several options.
Five Guys.
Five Guys as well. Haven't done that one yet over there. It's been
solid.
It's been Chipotle, Jersey Mike's, and Chick-fil-A.
I went with our graphics guy, Nate Gardner, to Five Guys, while the rest of you guys were at Chipotle. It was solid. I mean, it's Five Guys. It's what you're going to get from Five Guys.
Now, the soda machine at Chipotle was not working, so I actually went into Jersey Mike's to get a drink. Felt weird holding a Jersey Mike's cup in Chipotle.
Having to make your trips. Got to find it somehow.
That you do. The Doors here trying to find a victory, as we've been talking about here. Really good effort against Cotuit. Several different instances of the Kettleers trying to claw back into this ball game, and Falmouth has really just shut it down relatively quickly with more runs after. I mean, again, you talk about that 2-run fifth. The Doors got him back in the bottom of the 6th inning. Made it 6-3, and then one more there padded in the previous half inning by the Doors because of Tyler McGregor's RBI double. And now Charlie Kuhn going right to work. He's ahead, no balls and 2 strikes here as the lefty.
No save situation for him.
But really good stuff from Charlie Kuhn here. He's one of those guys, a late add to the roster, and was talking to Chris Fitzgerald, our general manager, about it. Just saying, in a time of wanting to find different arms for a push like this, Zach, it's teammates texting their buddies saying, hey, we got our guy interested in you. What are you doing? And Charlie Kuhn, one of those guys amongst several, saying, yeah, we'll come up. Inside breaking ball, chasing Walsh back to the wall, and he'll make the play. Good swing, but a good result, too, for the second out.
And he knows that feeling of having Barry Walsh run the ball down for him.
That he does. Certainly. A couple of Eagles out here for the Commodores. And now it comes down to Sean Keys as the last chance here for the Kettleers. Ready to close out the regular season. 44 games have come and flown by. And now the Doors, one strike away of getting to that point. Fastball runs high from Charlie Kuhn. Tried to work him a little bit backwards there. Show him the heater. Three strikeouts and that home run from Keys today. Way ahead of that one. With Kuhn looking for that 4th strikeout there against Keys. And before the regular season concludes, Sean Keys is going to need a new baseball bat.
That's tough. Didn't get a hit, didn't get out. Just got to keep the at-bat going and need a new bat with 2 strikes and 2 outs.
We've talked about expensive outs. That's an expensive strike.
It is.
He gets back in there, though.
And it doesn't even count as a strike either.
Not really.
There's already a 2-strike count. Just an expensive foul ball.
Left-on-left matchup here from Kuhn, trying to close the regular season out the right way. The 2-2. Fastball at the letters, stayed up high.
Just barely.
Should it get there? Jeff Hurd awaits on deck for the Kettleers. But Kuhn trying to end it right here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. There it is. Swing and a miss. And the Commodores conclude the regular season, picking up points 49 and 50. The first time The Doors have reached half a century in the point category since 2019. And Falmouth goes on a 21-8 record to close out the regular season, riding hot into the postseason. That starts as soon as Friday night at McKeon Park with a date with the Harbor Hawks.
It's been a ride, and it's going to be a real fun series this weekend. You guys are not going to want to miss this one at home.
As soon as we know the matchups in terms of both sides' pictures, again, we could assume it's Braden Davis for Falmouth. We'll see what the Harbor Hawks want to go with, but you got to like the way the Doors are trending. 2 wins in a row against Hyannis. You close out with 2 in a row against Cotuit, the top team in this West Division. All things going right for the Doors. And the stat line shows it there, just getting the win the right way.
Exactly. You find yourself in a game with an early lead. The pitching looks good. Then Cotuit ties it, but Falmouth responds again, as they've done throughout the entire last month. Just playing good baseball, 1 pitch at a time.
It took 2 hours and 56 minutes to see the Commodores get their West Division record over 500. It took the Doors that amount of time to even up the season set against the top dogs in this West Division. And the Falmouth Commodores now will hit the road on Friday after a well-deserved off day tomorrow, Zach, to begin the chase at a title. Haven't seen one here in 42 years, but now the fun to get there starts on Friday night. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time here all throughout the regular season. You know, when we sign up for these internships and opportunities, you're guaranteed 44 games. But the fact to keep this thing going with this group of people listed right there, it's going to be a lot of fun to get to do so on the road as soon as Friday, as we mentioned. All the videographers all season long that have been getting you the content there on the field. McKenna Wall, Laura Schroeder, Scott Samanchik, Ellie Fidelli, our video director, Audrey Glenn, assistant director. So many others that you see there putting in the work here all games, you know, whether it's the home ones or the away, 44 of them since June 10th. And we get bonus baseball in a couple of days. From our broadcast partners in Destiny Sanchez with those reports all summer long down at the field. For Zach Serdenik and myself, Matt Venezia, having fun on the play-by-play, flipping back and forth. We'll be with you again to keep the fun going along Friday when the Commodores take on the Harbor Hawks. Game 1 of the playoffs. Can't get here soon enough. We'll see you then at McKeon Park.